That's all it is.
defensive.
And you're not trying to be receptive.
Sir,
But be receptive, sweetie. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Annalicia.
I'm not black. I don't have the experience. It's hard for me to, and you're making some really extreme statements. It's hard for me because I can only sit here and nod my head. I can't really truly say if I agree or disagree. I can only give perspectives of other black people, but like, yeah, I'm not black, and like the black experience is like very complicated in the United States. Even in one city, the black experience might be really complicated from hood to hood or person to person or school to school. I can't speak on behalf of like all mixed race people or black men or anything else. Yeah, like I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
It's all good.
No. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Yes, you can.
What the hell are you doing?
Wait, let me finish my point.
Whoa.
You can finish.
You sound like a G.
Let me finish my point. You can. I got you. Maybe you can say that. Stop interrupting, and I'll finish a point, and it won't take that long. And I got you. I bet you believe that. Anyways.
Annalicia, as a black man who's on your side, I got you. Just wait your turn, and then we can get him.
You're
Go
not
ahead.
on my side. First of all, Abba, why are you like this?
No, hold on. You just asked. I want to actually know that.
No, Abba, why are you like this?
And I'll explain further why I use the term lonely mothers. It's not to shame you. Instead, it's to make it stigmatized because it's not a good thing for society.
You think that I don't need you to show me any data that's going to help me understand that
over the past 30 years, the rise in violent crime parallels the rise in single mothers. If you look at all of the data on single mothers, you find that the children raised by single mothers, or shall we say lonely mothers, all the data indicates that these children are more likely to be incarcerated in prison. They're likely to have less educational attainment, which means that single mothers are not good leaders. Single mothers are terrible leaders. And I'm not saying that the men who leave their children are good guys. These men who leave their children are irresponsible, immature. They're not men that I admire. They're immature boys, in fact, and I would encourage them to take care of their kids. But here's the thing. When a man leaves his own child, it's highly unlikely it's due to the child. It's due to that lonely mother having been a whore and he didn't want the kid in the first place. It's her being disagreeable and he's leaving the situation with her. So we can't lie and say that a lonely mother is preferential to a two-parent household. Don't we at least agree on that ideally we have two-parent households? Do we agree on that?
You see, I knew that when I questioned you, I knew that I was right. I really do have to trust my gut. And you and I are probably moving forward not going to agree. And it's not a personal thing. I don't have an issue with you personally.
No, of course not. You love me personally.
But just hear me out, because once again,
before you go in, would you answer the one question I asked you and then go in? I'm going to shut up. Just answer the one question. Can we agree that a two-parent household, mother and father, is far superior to a lonely mother household?
Of course.
If you're a man making $50,000 a year doing whatever, you go, you do your 9 to 5, you make $50,000 a year working your butt off. You have a female who is under your leadership. Maybe it's your wife, whatever the case is. And she's doing OnlyFans making $100,000 a year. Just because she's outperforming you economically does not mean that because she's the breadwinner, she gets to become the leader.
But it also doesn't mean that she must be submissive to you.
Yes, she must be submissive, and I'll tell you why. The reason that you must be submissive is because everyone has their roles, and the roles don't come out of thin air. The roles come directly out of biology. And let me show you why you are submissive. If I was there right now, I could make you submit. You ain't even got to take the option. I'll make you submit. And here's the difference. You can never flip the script and make me submit. You are designed weaker. You shall be dominated. And when you're unruly the way you are right now,
you believe that.
That's why you will never get a man who is a high earner, because he doesn't want to deal with an unruly woman. And I say this because I love you and I want the best for you. And you're a good looking woman. You can achieve so much, but that mouth ain't good looking. When you think that you can compete with a man and not submit, you might as well get into a relationship with a woman. Because that's the only being that's going to put up with the bullshit.
Can I respond?
Yes. Yes.
Once again, women are we're just perpetually cuckolded. We are not women are not pushing matriarchy. You need to understand that the workforce is, first of all, the racism and the racial exploitation. That is the reason that women are having to work, because black men are not able to make as much as their white counterparts. They're not able to make as much money as they should be making. They're not able, hold on, let me finish. They're not able to acquire academic attainment because a lot of them are going to jail. A lot of them there are a lot of moving pieces. But we are not pushing the matriarchy. The matriarchy is a result of the circumstances that have been like, you really have a very narrow way of thinking and seeing the world. If a woman has to work, not want to, but if we have to work, you cannot then tell me, oh, you're going to work, you're going to come home and do some more work, and you're going to submit to me.
Yes,
That's
you are.
not going to happen in life.
You're going to do all that, baby.
No. We are co-captains. I will love and respect you.
It's one only captain on the boat, baby.
You will love and respect me.
I will.
We are going to work together. We are going to complement one another. But you're not going to cuckold me into a role that you have not earned as someone who wants to be the head of house. If you're the head of house, and I'm at home and I'm taking care of all the domestic responsibilities.
You're complaining again. Okay, so I heard you out. Now let me help you out.
And you're working? Oh, no, boo. You're just not making enough.
I heard you out.
You have not earned the title of head of.
That's why you're single. Let me help you out.
And I love my co-captain.
No, you're not.
My co-captain is not going to exploit.
This is why you're single.
I sort of learned the hard way that in these spaces, I should probably, I don't want to disclose too much, but my name is Annalicia. I work in the social service sector, and
cool.
Yeah, is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah, that's plenty. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to go? What do you want to talk about?
Okay. First, I have to ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how annoying have I been the last week?
You're actually like you're at a 9. Okay. And do you want to know? 10? Do you want to know why? I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I fucking hate people that send fucking voice messages, okay? I gotta find a quiet place. I gotta push the play button. I gotta hold it up to my ear and hope my face doesn't hit the phone. And if I skip a part and I don't hear it, that's just, whew, that's an auto 9, okay? But other than that, you haven't been annoying at all.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Okay.
I like voice messages just because I can get lazy. I don't want to, I tend to spam people when I get really like interested in a purview or the subject, and I don't want to spam with messages, so I. Oh,
so you spam with voice messages instead, something that forces you to say, "Okay, gotcha."
I thought it was the lesser of two evils. Look, I'm learning as I go along too. Okay, so now I've learned. So the way, first and foremost, the way that I came about, even listening or hearing you, Destiny. Do you prefer Destiny or Steven? I prefer Steven, if that makes a difference.
I prefer Steven. Well, why do you prefer Steven? What do you mean by that?
No, I'm formal in that way. I just like to refer to people as, I don't really like aliases. Like, your name is Steven. My name is Annalicia. We're having a conversation.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, just checking. Yeah, that's fine.
So I saw you know the shorts on YouTube?
Yeah.
So I saw you in one of the shorts, and you were on the Bald and Burnt podcast.
Jeez.
And
okay.
But you know who I'm referring to. You know which one is which.
Is this a nickname for Fresh and Fit?
Okay, so you know. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Wait, are you part of the WL community, or do you even know what that is, or?
I do not know what that is.
Okay, why these nicknames?
I think. Oh, we'll get into that.
Okay, we'll get into that. Okay, we'll get into that.
But I saw you. I just saw a very short clip, and I saw you really unloading the clip. I guess I call it unloading the intellectual clip. Some people call it, really giving really good talking points that are based in fact or statistical. Whatever.
Yeah, okay. I know what you mean. I got you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I saw that. I'm like, who the hell is this white guy? First of all.
Okay. A little racist,
surrounded.
okay.
That is not racist. You were the only white guy there. It's like, it was hard to not. It was hard.
That's all right. It's okay. Go ahead. You're fine. I'm used to it at this point. It's okay to be racist to white people, so nothing you say can hurt me.
Oh, we'll talk about that too.
Okay, I know we will. Go ahead.
I saw that clip and I thought to myself, first of all, that was the first time that I'd ever seen anyone really push back to the extent that you push back. Because a lot of people go on this podcast and it's the same shit. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, you're good. Just, yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm not gonna swear.
No, I'm sorry. You can say anything, but there's just no hate speech. But I feel like if I say that after making racial jokes, now it sounds like I'm trolling you. But yeah, there's no like weird, like no like racial slurs or whatever, and we're good. You can swear, it's fine. I say fucking shit all the time. Okay.
Okay. So that was, mind you, I don't watch them. I think that they're degenerate. I think that they're, oh my God. Well, we'll get into that. But I don't watch them with any regularity whatsoever. It's usually just a clip here and there. But I saw the clip, I saw you pushing back, and I thought to myself, okay, well, this is the first time that I've seen someone push back to this degree, but not just push back. You were right. Like some people push back and they think they're right, but it's just really logical fallacies or like circular logic. They don't really make sense. But yeah, you were absolutely 100,000% correct. And so I thought to myself, this is the only person in the space that I'd ever seen saying the things or hearing the things that you were saying. And it was for me, it was particularly interesting because, you know, I would say that the Bald and Burnt podcast is largely caters to the Black demographic. That's my understanding. That's my experience. I believe that their audience is predominantly Black.
Okay. It might be. I'm not sure, but it might be. Yeah.
Oh, we can do our homework, but I'm almost.
I know it targets young men for sure. The community is definitely more Black than the communities I've seen. But I'm like in very, very, very white spaces on the internet, so it's hard for me to ever know like which communities are Black or not. You know. But yeah, well, it could be. Yeah, I mean, it feels like it when I look at their subreddit and I see everything. It feels like it's more Black than any other part of the internet that I usually spend time on. So yeah, for sure. I mean, I believe if you say it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just my experience with the space. It's to me, it's sort of derivative of the Black manosphere. It's in that area.
Sure.
So, because you were like the only white guy, made it really contrast, and I just found it interesting. I thought, okay, well, maybe this is someone that I can have a conversation with, who I could help understand certain things, because I think some of the things, I would say 95% of what you said on both times that, I don't know if you were on two separate times or if you guys filmed both shows.
Yeah, I think I was on 2 or 3 times, yeah.
Okay, so 95% of the things that you were saying were 100% correct. I think that my issue was, and it's not necessarily an issue with you, but my issue, generally speaking, is sometimes when we're having these conversations, and Bald and Burnt, they sort of format it this way. They format it in a way where it's sort of racially ambiguous. Like they don't name the Black community, but really they're talking about the Black community. Some of these issues really only apply to the Black community, but they're smart because they want to go mainstream. They want to broaden their audience or the guests that they have on their show. So they're not going to name names. But, and I think that sometimes that's where, you know, someone like you might go on the show and you might be saying things, and because you don't acknowledge that, that dichotomy, you might say things that are a little bit like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So, for example, you said that something about advice that you give to single mothers. You said basically, what is your value, or what do you have that nobody else has? Is that like an accurate?
That's like a general piece of advice I give. If I'm trying to remember what we were talking about on the show, it probably has to do with the idea of like dating as a single mom is generally really hard because like kids and stuff are going to be like a big deal breaker for a lot of guys, or past drama with other baby daddies can be like a really big deal for a lot of guys. So you have to be offering something like usually exceptional, or be like in an exceptional area, I guess. Otherwise you're just playing from behind. Not that it's like impossible to find anybody, but that it's pretty rough, I think, as a single mom.
Okay, so, and that's what I'm saying. So that's 100%. That's right. It's obviously difficult dating, particularly for women, particularly for Black women.
Yeah.
It's very difficult if they want to date as single mothers. But then I sort of thought to myself, well, if men are sort of, men are kind of at an all-time low, socially, sexually, academically, maybe it shouldn't be that hard for single mothers. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Not that
yeah, you're making like it's like the reverse argument of what they're saying when they claim that like women's standards are too high, maybe men's standards are too high.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so my thing is when, especially Booty Goon Samuels. So Kevin Samuels, I was not just like shocker. I did not like Kevin Booty Goon Samuels, but I've heard you sort of reiterate some of his talking points, or is he someone that you like? Did anything resonate with you? Did you agree with him, or?
I would imagine I probably like broadly agree with a lot of what he says. It's just going to depend on, usually when it comes to like the red pill guys, usually I'm going to kind of agree when it comes to like talking about what dating dynamics are. And usually where I'm going to not agree is when people start to get like really weird about why they are that way. Or like sometimes people just go into weird areas with it, but it's just going to depend on it's going to depend on the person and the piece of advice, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe before I even go into that, how red pill are you? How red pill would you describe? Like, if you had to quantify it, or what are some red pill talking points that absolutely resonate with you?
It's gonna depend. Fuck, that's such a lame answer. I'm sorry. It's probably easy to go through a conversation and just talk through things, because there's going to be some things where it's like, oh yeah, this is probably true. So like, there are going to be broad facts about dating that I probably agree with. Like for instance, men tend to look for younger women. Women tend to look for guys that are earning more money than them. Like, I think those things broadly speaking are true. But like, I'm not going to be on this, like when Fresh and Fit are like, men have to become something and women just are. Like, I'm not going to believe in any of that shit. So it's going to depend. Yeah, it's going to depend. Like if I'm in like a super progressive community, I might come off as like ultra red pilled. But if I'm with like a bunch of red pill guys, like I'm a bisexual dude in a polyamorous relationship, like I'm going to come off as like an ultra cuck, and they're going to all call me like the F word. Like, so I mean, it depends on which community I'm in and what issues we're talking about, I guess.
Okay, so you think that women generally, or as a general matter, you think that women, and so this is kind of the thing, and I don't want to, and I know that for you, I don't think this is your thing. I've sort of binge watched some of your streams, and I heard you discuss Black issues when there were Black people on the podcast. But I don't know how much you want to lean into it. Like, I don't know how comfortable you are. But when you say that women overvalue themselves I fucking hate this word, in the dating market, is that, and that's a red pill talking point, right? Is that something that you agree with?
That's really hard to quantify. So here's like a general thing in society that I think is kind of true. And that's that like, women have been hyped up on like some ultra girl power shit for quite a while, and it's a little bit cringe sometimes. It feels that way. But like, this is also something that's true, and that's that, like, a lot of men are actual just fucking trash. And I don't know how much I want to hold women responsible for that. So it's really going to depend on the type of community that I'm talking to. Like at this point, like I work kind of in entertainment. Like when I find out that like other colleagues of mine are like kind of like rapey and shit, like it's not even surprising anymore. Like so many men are just like actually fucking disgusting. So like, and then when I like look at how, you know, the average young man lives his life, and I see that like a lot of men are just like actual fucking slobs. They can't take care of themselves at all. They don't know how to do laundry or dishes. They can't even hold like any normal job. They play video games all day, and it's like, okay, well, I don't really blame, you know, women for thinking that a lot of these guys are fucking losers. So yeah, but I mean, it goes back and forth. This is an answer where it's like, I feel like the argument is really gonna, or your feelings are really gonna depend on the type of media that you kind of immerse yourself in. If you're hyped up on some progressive tweets all day, you're probably gonna come away thinking that like all women think that they're queens and they have like way too high expectations or whatever. And if you're in certain dating communities relating to women, you're probably gonna think that most men are like actual fucking literal scum, and that women are probably better off single than dating a lot of the losers that are just looking for second moms. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So I guess what I would say to that is so again, there's like a schism that or there's that dichotomy that for me I can't ignore when we're having these conversations, because there are differences, and these differences are going to matter depending on what talking point you're using, right?
Yeah.
So for me personally, whenever I hear, the booty goon talk about, you're average at best, you overvalue yourself, or whenever I hear Bald and Burnt talk about, women think so highly of themselves and this and that and first of all, that wouldn't be applicable to the Black community. That it just wouldn't.
Why? Can you explain that? Yeah, go.
So it wouldn't be applicable to the Black community because Black women largely still date Black men. And Black women are largely getting into relationships. Statistically, they're marrying and dating Black men who don't even, they're not really meeting Black women where they are. Black women are educated and post education, I should say. So undergrad, graduate, PhDs. But they're still marrying and dealing with Black men who largely are uneducated. And to the extent that they are educated, it would probably be a high school, maybe a GED, something like that. So that it wouldn't apply to Black women. Black women as a collectively are outpacing Black men academically. And because Black women are more employed, collectively they have more money. So that's sort of, it wouldn't apply. If anything, Black women need to raise their standards because, I mean, like, if you know anything about probability, I mean, like, let's be honest, it's these men that are the problem in the Black community.
Sure, yeah, that might be true. I can't speak at all to, especially like African-American dating standards. That's going to be a totally like community that I have no understanding with at all. Even for the Black women that I talk to, the majority of them are probably, if I were to dig into it, are probably all like African immigrants or people that are like first or second generation immigrants from Africa. So yeah, I have no experience probably with actual like African American women. So that might be true. I can't comment. I have no idea.
Yeah, so that was sort of my issue, and that's why I gave you grace because I'm like, you know what, they don't really set the framework for him to, like, when you're making your comments and you're saying what you're saying about dating and women and standards, because the framework hasn't been set and that dichotomy hasn't been acknowledged, you're speaking generally about all women. And they sometimes they are, but usually they're not, but whatever. Okay, I can respect that. So I'm not going to take umbrage with that. But yeah, so that was my issue. I didn't like the way that there was something else that you said though that was actually problematic, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was very red pill. It was very red pill.
Okay.
But again, I don't know, like, I don't know how much you lean into the red pill. Like so I don't even know if it's fair for me to even have this issue.
It's fair to have whatever issue you want. Yeah, go for it. I mean, there's going to be some things with the red pill community that I agree with, so it's possible that it's something I agree with. Yeah.
So I asked this question already, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you agree? It's just, yeah. I mean, I think I broadly stated, but I mean, fuck, I can't think of like every single thing relating to dating standards. Like, I'm not going to be able to list them all off at the top of my head. Yeah. Or I guess what are the major things with the red pill community that you disagree with? We could probably start with there, and then we could figure out where our differences are.
Well, I think the red pill community, I mean, their tagline is, better your. Well, I'm not even going to say that, but I think that with the red pill, their ideologies about women and women overvaluing themselves and wanting too much and needing to settle for less or date average and this and that. I think it's just it's not true. Like, and again, Black women have been doing that, and in terms of dating strategies, it has not been advantageous for Black women to date and marry Black men. It just hasn't. Black men, in fact, in school, I had to had to do studies about these dynamics. And there was a really interesting one. It was done by the Brookings Institute. And the summation of the study was basically that poverty in the Black community is rooted to Black men. So Black women sort of being the breadwinners. I think it's like 60 to 70% of Black women are earning more money in Black households and families as a result of their education. Obviously, your education is directly correlated to your socioeconomic status. As a general rule, obviously there are outliers. You would be an outlier, right? But generally speaking, your education is correlated with your socioeconomic status. So the Brookings Institute, the summation of it was that basically because Black men are not getting their education at the same levels, and in this, like, as much as Black women are, when Black women marry them, it makes it really difficult to move from one socioeconomic class to another. With other groups, you find generally they're marrying and dating within their own, in their league, right? Like someone with a master's is going to marry somebody else with a master's, or at least an undergraduate degree, or, and you're relatively, economically speaking, you're going to be in the same bracket, which is going to make it easier for you to sort of go from middle class to upper middle class and stuff like that. But because Black men are not doing that, it's keeping the Black community and it's keeping these families. It's lowering the household income, which in turn is rooting these families to poverty. So that's why I feel like these conversations about, choose better, and it's reductive. I don't think that people truly understand what's happening in the Black community. And of course they don't. You have someone like Kevin Samuel saying, or I don't know if it was him, but somebody in the Red Pill said, I think they said something like 52% of Black men are childless and in the middle class. They don't understand probability. They don't understand how statistics work. They don't understand how data and research methods work. But, they hear it from another degenerate and then they go around, with the same talking points, not really understanding, and they not really having done the research. Because if they did, they would know what the study was referencing, or what the study actually did say was that these Black men are in the middle class because they're married to Black women. So it's the combined income that brings them to the middle class. Also, the middle class is like what, 39,000 to like 109,000. It's a spectrum. So even they'll go around saying this as a talking point, like it's a checkmate, but like $45,000, depending on where you live, you're living at like where I live, 45,000 is poverty. Like you're living at the poverty level.
Sure. So let me, if I can, so I'm just trying to understand the point you're getting across here. It seems like you're fixated on, or one of the things you're really focused on right now is the lack of engagement with Black women, specifically when they're talking about like their dating issues or stuff relating to dating standards. Is that kind of
right.
what you're...
Well, so that and sort of the misinformation that Black men are spreading, including a bald and a burnt. So everything that they say on their podcast, absolutely everything that they say on their podcast. I have not heard one thing that made sense, that was true, that was really based in fact.
Well,
it's like they think...
Yeah, so I'm curious then, because I've been on their show obviously a few times. What to you are a couple of things that you think are just super wrong or super incorrect? I'm curious. Like
they're always talking about like evolution and what women want evolutionarily speaking, and like the psychological evolutionary aspect to all of their talking points is like, are you serious? Like we've evolved. They understand that as humanity and society and civilization evolves, so does your mating and dating habits. Like, so does your mating and dating strategies. People interact with society and society interacts with people, right? And that's that symbiotic relationship, and that's how things change, and that's how things evolve over millennia. These guys are talking about the things that women were doing, like when we were using rocks to make rocks and sticks to make fire. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's 2022 and you're talking about, women don't know what they want, and they connected wires to their private parts, and like, what?
Well, I imagine like the answers they would probably say that like there's going to be some things that are inescapable from our biology that are like rooted back to you know, things that we have always done for like all of human history, right? To kind of like show that trends exist and there are certain ways that we interact with environments that we always have, and that it's like kind of like instructive for how people are going to act in the future. Now, isn't that like generally their talking points?
Right, but that's incorrect. That's objectively wrong. If that was the case, then we would do what we want. We would be led by our sexual, physical impulses. Like, that's just not true. Obviously, now we've sort of progressed as a society, and we realize, okay, you know, there are things that you can and cannot do in society. Like, and the same thing goes for monogamy, polygamy, and all those things. Evolutionarily speaking, we've realized it's more advantageous for two people to raise their offspring, just to give the offspring, your child, you know, a better chance of survival. These are things that, like, you can look at the data, you can look at the research. What, like, I don't understand how people, like, these men can just say anything they want, and like nobody, they don't qualify it. It's like, oh yeah, these guys came in and they told me that they don't care about dating girls who don't make as much as them, or who are uneducated, or otherwise just honestly losers. To me, that's what they're describing when they're describing like these docile sort of uneducated women. And I'm not saying this is all of these types of women, but they have a targeted sort of demographic, kind of like a predator. They know the types of women that they want to engage. And so, like, generally speaking, wealthy and affluent men are going to marry and date women who are in their same socioeconomic bracket. Like, I don't understand why they just say anything they want, and everybody just like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, what? No. Yes, I'm sure some wealthy and affluent men, some powerful men, I'm sure that they'll date down. I'm sure. But generally speaking, and this is what the data supports, people date in their league. People date, generally speaking, they date within their race, they date within their socioeconomic strata, they date within their sort of academic background. That's the way that it works. Like, I don't understand how people can go on that podcast and just, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the CEO is dating the girl from McDonald's. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily disagree with you on any of these things. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, like, yeah, I think that was kind of one of the points that I argued with, is that like, because I think I asked that on one of the episodes. Because they were talking about how like successful men don't care about like the status of the woman that they're with at all, which sounded really ridiculous to me. And then I think I gave Sneeko and I think Fit, I gave the example of like, if you were a guy that was making, you know, like 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever, like, are you going to go, no, like, not to knock anybody's job or whatever, but you're probably not going to go and date like a Starbucks barista or a woman working at Target, I think was the example that I used. But all of them, they all actually unironically said, yeah, actually I would love to date like a woman working at Target because she's not like a slut. I was like, okay, that's interesting, I guess. But I mean, if they're going to answer yes, I don't know what I'm supposed to say at that point. But yeah, I don't really believe it, you know.
It just confuses me, Steven. Honestly, and I don't mean to.
Well, what part? I think it all makes sense from their perspective. What part is confusing?
You think it makes sense?
I think from their perspective it does. Yeah, I mean, I understand why they're saying what they're saying.
Why do you think they're saying what they're saying?
Well, from their narrative, they feel like I guess from their perspective, women don't have to work or do anything, probably because they're like, hold on, let me think. Let me put this into better words. I think that men have a really difficult time seeing the struggles of women, and I think that women have a really difficult time seeing the struggles of men, because in some ways we struggle with some things that are really annoying that the other side doesn't struggle with, and then in some ways we have a lot of advantages that the other side wishes they had but don't, and then they get like very they get like very resentful over those things. So like for men, like women are constantly offered dick, right? Like every single time a guy talks to you, you know, arguably he's trying to fuck you, or on dating apps it's insane, and in real life it could be insane. And there's like for women, this might manifest in like as soon as I turn 11 or 12 years old, I have older men hitting on me, and it's incredibly fucking creepy, and it's irritating, and it's difficult to navigate, and there's a lot of resentment that might build up in a woman over her lifetime in relation to how men approach her, and that becomes an annoyance. But from the man's perspective, that type of sexual attention is something that he's chasing his entire fucking life. And then when he sees a woman get it so easily, and then when he sees a woman get it and discredit it so easily, like that, those types of dynamics, I think, can foster a ton of resentment between the races, between the sexes. And so when you're in this environment where you're like growing all of this resentment, but you also still have to like engage with the other sex, there's this weird like adversarial but cooperative dynamic that develops in some of these communities where like you fucking hate women, but you also fucking love women at the same time because they give you all of your validation, and that's like ultimately the goal you're looking for. And then I think from there, you start to kind of like draw out all of these really bizarro dating standards, or all of these really bizarro analyses. So this might be kind of like where it comes from, the idea like men have to become something and women can just be. Like that's a pretty dumb statement taken on its own. But if you think to a man, if the only thing he's interested in is sex, well, in order for men to fuck, they usually have to become something. They've got to go through a lot of effort to do it. And for women, they don't have to go through as much. And if that's the only lens that you view like relationships or sexual dynamics or men and women through, then that would explain where that statement comes from. That's what I mean. Like there's probably a there's like an explanation like that, I think, for everything they believe. The explanation, I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid, but I understand where it comes from, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So ultimately, that resentment piece, I think that's the sort of core and fundamental piece. That resentment, or maybe like we can call it vagina envy. It's that envy that's not coming from a good place. So them saying,
it's not coming from it's coming from a place of frustration, you know. Whether you say it's good or
right,
bad,
but it's coming from a place of resentment. It's coming from a place of, hey, you get to do this and I don't get to do it, and you get this and I don't get that. Right. So if it's coming from a place of resentment and animus, which it is, then how could anything that they say foster? Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna put that to the side. So what I find interesting about what you're saying is the very existence of their podcast only perpetuates and solidifies the masculine archetype that they're saying, you know, that they're saying is so burdensome. You know,
but
women don't
this is an
understand
issue. Yeah, this is an issue that I bring up a lot, but their answer to this, because I always say this, is like, aren't you kind of like basically feeding into and perpetuating like the cycle of shit that you say is so toxic and horrible? And their response to that, what Fit always says is, well, you know, we're not here to change reality, we're just here to describe it, is kind of their response.
Yeah, but whose reality are you describing? What type of people? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's such a myopic, that's such a myopic take. Like, I can't even understand. Like, how juvenile do you have to be to see the world through that lens? Through the lens of, I have no autonomy, I can't change anything. I have a giant platform and huge cultural influence, but I can't change anything. And we're just telling people how it's not like that for 99.999% of their audience. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think on the last episode I was on, I got them to admit that like the advice that you're giving and the way you're describing life, like this is only going to work for like 1% of your audience. And I think they even agreed with that at the end, but yeah.
Right, but even the way that they see relationships, first of all, we're not gonna sit here and act like what they're describing or what they're prescribing has anything to do with relationships. We know that that's not true.
Yeah, that's one of my huge criticisms. They only talk about like fucking and hooking up, and I've never heard them give advice on relationship related stuff. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna run and grab a drink real quick. Give me like 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Don't say anything. Everybody can hear you, or say whatever you want. But 1 second.
Can I say hi to your chat? They probably hate me. Well, you guys can hate me. I love you. I love everybody, so we're good. And if Abba wants to come up, he can get the smoke too. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to know? But it's always love. I'm not coming from a place of hate or anger. I'm really coming from a place of at the root of it, everyone, I'm coming from a place of love because I really want a specific demographic to do a little bit better. And if they do a little bit better and they, you know, sort of revitalize their talking points, we can revitalize a very degenerate culture. And that's my interest. That's where my interests lie. So, yeah. It's really degenerate, guys. It is this pump and dump culture. Like, you have these two black males talking about, oh, yeah, like, really? What are the issues that are pervading the black community? And this is what you're promoting? Like, really? But these black men in the hood and in these marginalized, criminalized areas, they don't need advice to pump and dump. They've been doing it for a very long time. They're okay. They don't need the social conditioning. They don't need that cultural conditioning anymore. They've been doing it. Really? Like, this culture is so, like, I don't know how much you guys listen to rap. I'm more of like a Stevie Wonder, Otis Redding. Like, I don't really mess with the rap these days. It's super degenerate. But I believe was it Offset? No. Takeoff. Takeoff died yesterday. And I don't know what, and I mean, it's obviously it's a tragedy. But we can't really be surprised as a society and as a culture. You can't be surprised when these rappers are promoting, advocating for violence, degenerate, reprobate behavior. We can't be surprised when they get shot over a dice game. Is that surprising? Who's that surprising to? Not me.
Whoa, holy shit. Hold on. What's happening? Oh no.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, what did you just say?
No, I was just talking to your chat because I know that they hate me. I'm just trying to build a rapport with them.
Okay. People are saying you're wildin'. That guy, the Takeoff dude, didn't he die? Didn't he catch like a stray bullet? He wasn't like involved in like any violent shit, right?
Right, but the fact that they're rapping about walking around, toking guns, making money, that like you can't be surprised when this is the outcome. This is what they're rapping about. This is the lifestyle that they're purporting to live. This is the lifestyle that they're advocating on behalf of. Even like you can't be surprised. And it's not to say that his life wasn't worth anything or that he deserved to die. It's just that you have to understand the impact that the music is having on the minds of young, specifically black men. And you have to understand how you know that symbiotic relationship again. You have to understand what the potential harm and the fact that they don't. It's not just irresponsible, but it's like, I mean, nobody can really feel sorry for you at this point. Certainly not me.
Jeez. Wow.
I mean, and like I said, it's not that he deserved to die. But the old saying, oh, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. If in your community you're advocating on behalf of violence, or if you're engaged, even if you're not advocating on behalf of it, if you're not stopping it and you're engaging in it, you can't be surprised when your life ends at the hands of you know, some violent encounter, or like you can't. What?
Do you wait? Okay, hold on. I'm curious. For your background, are you an immigrant or are you like a descendant of slavery people? I don't know how to ask that in polite.
Je suis Canadien.
What?
Sorry, I'm Canadian.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Does that mean?
But my family came from the States. Like, I'm Canadian, but my family came from the States.
Are they like first generation, second generation? I'm just trying to see what your background is. I'm just curious. I have a lot of black people that email me that feel like very strongly about like different types of where black people are from. And then like different ways that they grow up. And I've had a lot of different input from a lot of different types of black people about a lot of all the other different types of black people. And I've started to realize over the past like 2 weeks how unfathomably fucking complicated all of your guys' communities are in terms of like how add-ons are with each other. So it's just kind of interesting. You don't have to answer also if it's uncomfortable. I was just kind of curious for your background. If you're African American, if you're like first or second or third generation immigrant from Africa or whatever. I was kind of curious.
Oh no, I'm like 10 generations. I'm like Canadian.
Canadian.
Like I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Like a real Canadian.
Gotcha.
My dad is Trinidadian, but my mom is they go back in Canada, like really Canadian.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
I don't want to just. I also, sorry, I have a really like ADHD brain, so I'm all over the place. You're gonna have to sometimes like reel me in and be like, "Hey, Anna, focus."
Okay.
But
sure. Well, okay. Yeah, let's do that. I can do that. I'll focus more. Where were we? You're rambling about a lot of stuff. Or I shouldn't say rambling. You're talking about a lot of stuff from the Fresh Your Fit guys that I already agree with. I think I've spoken about it before in terms of I disagree with a lot of the types of advice they give. I guess I'm more interested in ironing out places. You said we had disagreement in some places.
Right, because I think you said verbatim that you said women overvalue themselves. I disagree with
I don't
this.
know. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say women overvalue themselves.
No, that's what you said.
Well, I think it was more that there's like a feeling with how. So here's like one manifestation of that. Okay, here's an example of this. Women historically have tended to date upwards socioeconomically, right? Women tend to prefer men that either earn as much as them, or more than them.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I just want to make sure.
No, you can off. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I agree with that. Is that a bad thing? Is that problematic in and of itself?
Well, in and of itself, almost nothing is problematic. It's only problematic.
Is that a bad thing in any capacity, on any level, for women in a capitalistic society, in a patriarchal society?
Well, actually, yeah, no, I would say in and of itself, I would say that's problematic. Yeah, for sure. If you always expect somebody to be out earning you, yeah, I think that's problematic.
Well, but to make more money than you, when men have a higher or a better opportunity to make more money than you anyway.
Okay, well, hold on. You asked me in a vacuum. But if you want to start like factoring in social conditions, then it's no longer in a vacuum, right? So in other
okay, well, sorry, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay, sure. So if we start adding some cultural factors in, then it becomes kind of more understandable. Men have more opportunities. Men generally out earn women. Men focus more on earning money, et cetera, et cetera. It makes sense that a woman is going to select for men based on income. That makes sense. But something that's kind of changing recently, I say recently, over the past really 20 years, women have exceedingly attained more and more and more educationally, and then it's starting to carry over income-wise into job market stuff. Now, something that's happened is women's earnings have gone up, but their dating standards haven't adjusted as quickly as their earnings have. So you're getting women that are making more and more money, but they're still looking for men that are out earning them. So an interesting dynamic that you see play out in society is women in some ways have taken on some traditionally masculine roles, such as earning more money or being the primary breadwinner or just having a job and a career. But men aren't allowed to occupy traditionally feminine roles, like being a house taker or earning less money. So women are still looking for men to be like the masculine breadwinner, but they're also like earning money too. That would be an example, I think, of an unrealistic dating standard or something where people are shooting a little bit too high. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna push back on one thing. So while I do agree with you, you know, I think that once women have been given access to engage in the pedagogy, to have a political life, to have autonomy and agency, I think that they've hit the ground running more or less. But I also believe that it took a very long time. It took a very long time for women to get to the positions that they're in now. And largely, you know, that whole superimposing themselves into masculine roles, it's still largely really not accepted. And I don't believe that women, well, again, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't.
When we say not accepted, in Black communities or where? Because I would argue, especially in Canada and definitely in the United States, I think it's pretty accepted that women are like working careers and stuff now. I think it's pretty culturally pushed, and I think we see that in schools and broadly speaking across society. I think it's okay for women to be workers. In 2022, I don't think we shun that anymore.
If that were the case, then the red pill community wouldn't exist. Like the manosphere wouldn't exist. Their channels, their entire ideologies is predicated on the fact that specifically Black women are too masculine and, you know, they don't want to be submissive and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so, but I think that's exactly why they exist. Like it used to be the case that before, if you're a woman, you're kind of fucked. You kind of have to find a guy that is just like working a job and earning money. And like in the past, all men really had to do was like be a man. You just had to like have a job, earn money, and you're kind of like guaranteed to get a woman to some extent because like fuck, you're the one that's making the money, and they're either going to live with their parents forever or they're going to find a guy and marry them. But now that women's options have dramatically expanded, men are having to compete at higher levels than traditionally they ever really had to worry about, right? Like 50 years ago or 150 years ago, men didn't have to worry about having like meaningful emotional connections with women. They just needed to lock down a job so that a woman, you know, kind of needed them to support them and their family. Yeah.
Right. So, and I agree with you, but that's kind of what I'm saying. So they're complaining about something that has sort of been engineered by them. So if they're falling behind,
well,
I think we got
to be really careful about engineered by them, right? Like
when I say engineered by them, I mean that the power structure, these institutions, who created them?
Men might have created the patriarchy, but a man didn't create the patriarchy, right?
No, but not a man, but men. So if
you've never seen a men in your life. You only see a man, right? Individuals don't create systems. The systems are created
but they benefit from them. Individuals don't create systems, but they benefit from them.
Yeah,
they either benefit,
benefit,
or they operate within them to their detriment. So now what you're seeing is women are benefiting from it, and not because of men, because of their own sort of tenacity or ambition.
Because of a lot of men too. Let's be fair, men helped also for things like civil rights and education and all that. These Supreme Court men. Okay, but go ahead.
No, that's not what I mean. I just mean that getting your education is putting in the work. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
So I pushed back on what you were talking about, masculine and feminine. So when you say that men are not allowed to occupy
traditionally
more
feminine
roles,
space,
right? But who said that?
Women.
Who said that? When?
Every single time, always. So here's something. So this is like I'm super in the world of anecdote, which I hate arguing from. I'm usually like an autistic like data guy, but like I think we can generally agree on this. So I'm reminded of a rant from. Do you know who Tommy Lauren is?
No.
Okay, white blonde, super conservative idiot. But it was funny because she posted a rant one time on her Twitter that I thought was like very emblematic of all of the kind of dating issues. And she tweeted this huge thing and she's like, I'm tired as a woman of finding all these loser fucking guys well into their 20s, sometimes 30s. They don't have good jobs. They don't have any fucking career. Some of them still live with their parents. They've got no life fucking skills. All they've done is party and hang out with friends and play games and that's it. They're losers, right? That was her complaint. And I see a lot of women echoing similar-ish complaints that a lot of men are just kind of fucking losers. But it used to be the case that most women were fucking losers, but because they were valued for different things, that was okay. If you were a really hot 23-year-old woman and that's it, I guess if you can take care of a house, maybe, you're like, that's like prime dating material. But if you're like a reasonably attractive 23-year-old guy and that's it, you're a fucking loser. So I think that's what I mean when I say that like women have stepped into traditionally masculine roles, which is fine. I like that. I think that's cool. But like men can't step into the roles that women traditionally inhabited because those roles sucked. Men said they didn't suck, but they obviously did. And now like women don't want men that were in roles that were traditionally filled by women, but women are filling roles that are traditionally filled by men. Does that make sense or do you disagree? Go ahead. Whoa. Hello? If you're talking, your thing is muted. Oh, I heard.
Hello?
Oh, I hear you now. Hi.
I don't, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I don't like disagreeing with you, Stephen, because I really do like you. But
you can disagree with anything I say. It's fine. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I promise. Go ahead.
No, it's not about my feelings. It's more for me.
Okay.
So I agree. Okay, I agree. Generally speaking, I agree that women sort of. How do I say this? I guess if you want to look at the situation and sort of make it parallel, if men were in the same position as a 23-year-old woman, attractive, whatever, that they're not sort of afforded the same
luxury of just like finding a wife,
right?
Yeah, like it's never been an out for a guy to be like, I'm just gonna find a good wife and I'll be okay in life. Like no guy has ever really said that, but for women that was kind of like the default path, you know?
Yeah, that was a baseline, but I would say that was a baseline that was again
sort of socialized into women by men. So
sure, but we have to move. Yeah, that is true. I'm not going to fight with you over like the patriarchy. I'm not going to disagree with any of that. That is true, but it's not relevant. Like that's not a good enough answer anymore, because now we're dealing with like the ramifications and the fallout of all of that, and now we need answers for what to do now, right? I think that's the issue.
Well, the patriarchy, it's obviously still exists.
It does, but the issue is that, like, here's the thing about the patriarchy that feminists used to talk about, and they don't anymore, and no red pillar will talk about it because they're stupid and they hate talking about patriarchy. But patriarchy gives benefits and negatives to men and women, right?
Men, right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
In some cases, yeah, women benefited under patriarchy. In a lot of cases, they suffered. In a lot of cases, men benefited from patriarchy, but in a lot of ways, they also suffered. So men are starting to lose a lot of the benefits of patriarchy, right? One of those benefits was you're the sole earner. And that gives you a lot of leverage over finding women and controlling your relationships, because she doesn't have any money, right? I'm the sole earner. She's got it. Yeah, I'm the master, literally. But women have stepped into the traditionally masculine roles, but men haven't learned like all of the socialization games and all of the ways to relate to one another in the ways that women had. So women are starting to, in some ways, patriarchy, we can argue, still exists. Women are just benefiting now from things that used to only benefit men, but men are still suffering all of the weird like emotional robbing and all of the inability to housekeep and everything that that men have always suffered under, but now they don't have the leverage of being the sole earners. As kind of a quick add to that, this is really super interesting to me. I got an email from two different ladies that were both Middle Eastern talking to me about dating standards, and they said that in the Middle East, these dating standards are like what they're like in the West, but they're on crack. That basically, when you're a woman in the Middle East, now women have, when they grow up and you're a Middle Eastern, you learn to take care of the house, you're taking care of your siblings, oftentimes to the detriment of your schoolwork. You are learning to do every single thing that a woman does to take care of a house, while men are like, get to kind of bro out. If you're a son, you've got time with your father and you get to do fun things. But women from a very early age are socialized to be housekeepers and to learn how to upkeep a house. But now women have started to step into these roles where they're getting jobs, they're becoming programmers, they're doing STEM shit, and they're getting jobs. But what's happening is when Middle Eastern women enter these dating markets, all of the men that they're finding are like adult children. They don't know how to do anything in the household. A lot of them are earning the same or less than some of the women. And it's like they've got like a bunch of big adult men babies around that are looking for women to basically be their moms while also earning the same amount of money as them. So it's kind of like a similar problem that's going on in the West as well. That was an interesting video. Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, it's a Western problem. It absolutely is. So I think the reason that we may be missing each other is because the way that I approach these conversations is I do tend to relegate it just because that's the community I'm immersed in. Those are some of the disciplines that I've acquired academically. So I think for me, I look at things through the lens of or with the Black community. So what I would say is, and this is gonna be so bad, in the Black community, men have always been in that position. Men have I would say that even when they stepped off the plantation, women were the head of household and women were the primary breadwinners. So that dynamic has never changed. It's never changed, I would say. And so that's why I sometimes get a little bit like a double consciousness. Like sometimes I have a hard time having these conversations because I'm thinking about it based on the Black community. And in the Black community, we haven't really seen that shift. We've sort of seen Black women become more educated and maybe make more money, but Black women have largely, historically, always been breadwinners. They've always been the head of house. They've always taken care of Black men, and they've always sort of put the Black community on their back. So that's the reason that I think it's important to sort of to flesh out or to at least acknowledge that dichotomy, because
Wait, your thing just cut off. You said acknowledge that reality and then... Oh. Are Black women generally out earning Black men? Does anybody have data on that? I'm curious if that's true. Somebody look me up.
They're not out earning them
shit.
because
Hello.
so
Hi.
Black.
Okay, you're back.
Black men make more money.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You cut out for like 20 seconds there. Yeah, go ahead.
So black men on the dollar, they make more money than black women, but because black women are more employed than black men, collectively they have more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So by earnings, you're saying black men out earn black women, but more black women are working, so they're generally supporting families.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that possible. Yeah.
So that's kind of my issue. So when you have the black manosphere and, you know, Red Pill and those spaces talking about black women are masculine and they don't know how to be feminine and, you know, they don't know how to be submissive. It's like it's not true. And that's why I really struggle.
Well, it does sound true though, from their perspective though, is it not? If they view like working jobs and making money as a masculine thing, then it is true that black women are, in their eyes, masculine. No. But
if they've never done that, historically speaking, then what's the problem? So this is what people need to understand about the black community. A lot of people like to, and because of black men, again, and I can get into this later because I want to talk about interracial dating and biracial people, blah, blah, blah. But because of, you know, the narrative, the cultural narrative that that black men like to talk about in terms of, you know, black women are so masculine, and black people don't understand the relationship between cause and effect. So in the black community, if you have black men, black fathers, leaders in the community who are largely absent, what ends up happening is women are superimposed into that masculine position. It wasn't one day that collectively black women woke up and they're like, hey, I want to be masculine. I want to work 60 hours and I want to make all the money and I don't want to rear my kids any. Like that didn't happen. But if you were to listen to some of the degenerates in these spaces, you would believe it. You have to understand the cause and effect relationship between that sort of the feminine and masculine, I guess, switch in the black community, because it's always existed and it's always been there, but it wasn't a choice. It was sort of by design. We were superimposed into that position because black men were failing in their they were deserting their families and they were failing in the communities.
Sure. Okay. So I don't necessarily, I guess, disagree with anything you're saying. I guess the issue is that like historical analysis can only take us so far. Like, what is the solution now? Let's say everything you said is true. Like, so what? I guess you want to talk about black men a lot. Like, what is the solution for black men now? Or what are they supposed to do now?
I don't think that anyone's going to like my answer. So I don't know if I...
Go for it.
It's not, so you want this to be solutions-based conversation, I understand.
Well, it doesn't have to be, but I'm just curious because because I think it's easy to take away from everything you're saying, like, okay, sure, so what? Like, let's say everything you're saying is true, like, okay, well, now what, right? But go ahead, say it. What do you think? Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, without acknowledging without really acknowledging and critically analyzing sort of the plight of the black community, there is no and what. So if I were to have a conversation with a black man, he is going to disagree with absolutely everything that I say, and he's going to turn around and say, no, it's black women. So because our understandings and our worldviews and ideals about the black community and the plight in the black community are sort of diametrically opposed, there is no and then what. You sort of have to come to, like, the middle ground is, we're on the same page. Now what? But unfortunately, black men are not, there's no accountability. They're not ever going to sit here and be like, yeah, we dropped the ball and we never picked it back up. Sure. So that's the issue. That's why I can't give you that solution you may be looking for. And I don't want to sound pessimistic or like doom and gloom. But the reality is, if we're going to come to the table and we're going to have a conversation about a solution, we have to agree on the problem. And black men simply won't, they don't take on the burden of accepting any accountability.
Didn't Kevin Samuels, wasn't he generally pretty harsh to men that called in and acted like bigger than they were supposed to be? Like, well, I'm curious.
Right,
yeah, go ahead.
So the thing about Kevin Bootygoon, this is the problem that I have. I understand a lot of black men, oh, he used to talk about black men too, right? But it wasn't lucrative. It wasn't lucrative. And he didn't gain any notoriety. That wasn't his niche. And he understood that. But what is lucrative
in this space, especially the Black manosphere, especially YouTube, what he found was lucrative was denigrating Black women. And he really did rise to sort of a position of notoriety. So, he got the clout, he got the money, but it was on the backs of denigrating Black women. So we can't, when people talk about, he used to talk about Black men, right? But nobody really cared because he was still smelling perfume at that time. He was still just an image consultant. Nobody really cared about him. He didn't have the traction that he was seeking until he started talking about what Black women need to do and not do. And the problem is when you talk about what Black women need to do, that's when historical context does matter. So I understand
Okay, so this is confusing to me because when Kevin Samuels died, there were a lot of Black women on Twitter that were fucking celebrating.
Yeah.
But I think so with your one Black woman's context, because I get a lot of people that email me. So let me try to make some sense of this. I can understand it more from your perspective, that you basically have a bunch of Black women that feel like they're fucked over in life because they're working in their households, they've been abandoned by Black men, and everything in their life is just kind of fucked. And then a guy like Kevin...
that.
You didn't say what?
Any of that.
Okay, I'm speaking in generalities. Hold on, you just said all of that. You said that Black women in general had difficult times because they oftentimes were the breadwinners and Black men were unreliable and wouldn't take responsibility for themselves and their communities, right?
Right, and despite that, Black women are still able to thrive. I didn't say that they're sitting there wallowing. They're still.
Oh, no. I'm not saying they're saying. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just saying that there's a resentment there that's built up, and then essentially you have a figure like Kevin Samuels that comes out and then basically just starts shitting on all of Black women, telling them that their expectations are too high when they feel like they're the ones that have been doing most of the work.
It's not, and see, I don't like the verbiage. I don't like that language. When you say they feel like, you're dismissing historical context and objective statistical reality.
I'm just saying these are the feelings because I'm trying to understand why were Black women so fucking mad on Twitter when Kevin Samuels died, or happy that he died, I guess. But I'm just speaking to the feelings, whether it's true or not. I'm not trying to make a descriptive fact about the world. I'm just speaking to their state of mind. But yeah, I'm not denying that it happened. But I'm saying that this is you feel like you've done all of the work, and then another guy comes out and says, "Well, actually, you're all of the problem." That I can understand why people would get really upset at that, especially if you have done all of the work, right?
Right. Yeah. So, you said that on Twitter, Black women were sad that he died?
No. Black women generally seem to be celebrating when he died. That's what I generally saw on the Twitter threads that I saw. A lot of people were.
Okay, well, I wouldn't celebrate it. I know I call him a booty goon. It's kind of a force of habit at this point. Mm-hmm. But when he died, I wasn't Kalu Kalei. I wasn't any of that. But it was. I think Black women kind of thought that it was ironic that he died with, I think it was a prostitute, something like that. So, because his message was, Black, you're going to die alone if you don't lower your standards. You're going to die alone if you don't do this and that. And he kind of he didn't die with someone who loved or cared about him in any way, really. They were so that, I think that ironic piece is what Black women were thinking about. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fair because, this is someone whose message has been largely detrimental to the Black community. People want to say, he was about the Black family, this and that. If he was really about the Black family, then he would acknowledge that the Black family has been upheld by Black women unilaterally and exclusively for millennia. So really, you should probably focus on the shortcomings of Black men. Because that's the problem in the Black community. It's not to say that Black women are not perfect, obviously. I think that because they're going to continue to deal with Black men, they're going to be in the position that they're in. But yeah, Black men, I wish that he would have been more intellectually and historically honest and really focused his energy where it should have been placed, which is if we care about the Black family and Black men and Black women, Black men, I need to talk to you, right? Because he was talking about marriage, and Black men have the lowest marriage rate of any group. They have a higher divorce rate than a marriage rate. So you can't and these are not things that he was talking about. He's blaming the marriage rate on women.
Because there's that talking point that women initiate most divorces or whatever, right? That's a common red pill talking point.
And but listen to what you're saying. That's not. So what? So what if women? It's first of all, it's paperwork. We're talking about paperwork, clerical work. That is not the end of the relationship.
Men, the relationship could have been over for a long time, like years, months. But men just, they don't have that, maybe they don't have that incentive. Maybe they're lazier, whatever it is. I think I read a study saying that men don't like to do paperwork. I swear to God.
Okay.
I swear
it's
to
a little
God.
vague, but okay.
Okay. Now I don't want you to think that everything I'm saying is like, oh, men are, no, I don't believe that. I don't have a problem with men generally speaking, but I think that, talking point that women, women initiate divorce. Okay. And so what? Like women don't initiate, women, no matter what culture, what race, they don't divorce good men. Like that just does not happen. You don't divorce a man that is treating you well, that is taking care of your family, that is supporting you. And, you guys are sort of coordinating, working to, like, that doesn't happen. So if women are initiating divorce at a high clip, you might want to look to see what's going on with men. Men are the ones complaining about their position in the dating world, their access to sex and this and that. You might want to introspect a little bit and maybe figure out what's going on.
Okay. That is one thing you could do. I don't know what do you want me to I don't know what you want me to say. I understand what you're saying, but
no, I don't want to. I think that it's important for if you're going to engage in these conversations, and obviously I'm not an authority or whatever, but if we're going to engage in conversations in a meaningful way, I think it's important to acknowledge sort of, historical context and not historical context. And to be honest, I don't want to keep talking about black men. Even I'm over it.
You seem like you have a lot of resentment. Yeah.
It's not black men that I have resentment. It's these spaces that that black men are occupying.
Okay. Gotcha.
Black men have been doing what they've been doing, but it's just when you bring it to the public platform and you kind of show your ass, it's embarrassing. Like, it's really embarrassing. So
so here's broadly. Okay, I have to be. I got to balance out because I've talked to a lot of downer black people that are down on the black community. Okay, so I have to represent my brothers and sisters.
Oh God.
Yeah, get ready. So here, this seems to be like the problem, or not the problem. This is like, I think there's been historically like this issue in the black community, especially since like the late 60s and onwards, where civil rights happened in the United States. Some stuff got better, like the ending of like legalized segregation and redlining and shit. Some stuff got worse, like how well the black family was staying together. But it seems like there's this general divide on who's to blame. And people seem like they want to come down really hard on one side. So I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like half the black people are like, the system is rotted from the ground up. It's impossible for black men to succeed in this world. Everything is fucked. We grow up sometimes in ghettos with one mom watching us. We've got to take care of our siblings, and then drug dealing and shit is the only thing available to us. And then
hold on,
wait, I'm sorry. I almost screamed at you. Okay, hold on. Let me just figure. Okay, right. This is their perspective that like the whole system is rotted from the ground up. Shit is fucked, and that when people at the end of that system want to levy blame on those black people that the system produces, they're like, well, this is bullshit. Okay, this is our lot in life, and you're holding us accountable for it when it was largely created by like white systems, right? And then on the other end, there are people, and I've talked to increasingly more and more. I'll say broadly speaking, people like you that are saying, hold on, I think the black community needs to hold itself more accountable and stop blaming everybody else and kind of like figuring how to work their shit out instead of blaming everybody around them and not taking like more agency for their actions. That seems to be like broadly like the two camps that exist right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of subcommittees in, and then, yeah, okay, go talk, give me your feelings on it, go.
Right, so I guess those are the two. Right. Mm-hmm. I can agree with that. But where I think it's kind of a little bit of both. So I'm not, sure. I don't want to lean too far into one or the other, but I do have a problem with that victim pathology. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot with black men. I'm sorry, I do. I see it a lot with black men.
where if you sort of engage them, you say, hey, why can't you get your education?
Yeah.
Oh, the person's to school pipeline. Okay.
This is like the classic, and I'm not saying it's wrong, because I think I do see that in some ways it is right. It's the classic conservative argument of like, if you tell people that they're victims of a system for generation after generation, eventually they're only ever going to see themselves as victim of that system, and they're never going to try to do anything to improve themselves, basically. Yeah.
Right, but you have to understand that when you're engaging with the system, and how you engage with the system is going to determine your outcome. So if you take umbrage with the system, if you take umbrage with academia, or the prison the school to prison pipeline, blah blah blah. Black men especially, we're the builders, we're the leaders in society, right? But so they want the accolades. They want the reverence that comes along with being leaders and builders, but they don't lead and they don't build. So that's kind of my problem. They're really stuck, and they really lean into that victim pathology where, it's a learned helplessness, but that helplessness, that sort of victimhood mentality, is the reason that the Black community is not able to economically mobilize. Like
when you say the reason, do you think it's the only reason, or we're just trying to keep it balanced?
Sorry, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Not the only reason, but I think that it is a huge contributing factor.
Sure.
Because again, Black men don't realize how they're engaging in this system. How they're even in some instances perpetuating white supremacy, how in some instances they're perpetuating their own plight. So when we talk about, Black ghettos, and who's making the hood a hood? Who like if you were to go to a hood, you as a white man, who are you going to see on the corners? Who's shooting who? Who's selling the drugs?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but then like the response would be, well, who put them there? Who put them in those conditions? Like
them? Who put Black men in those positions?
Yeah. Why do Black people live where they live? Why didn't their families have any money? Why was there only one parent in the household? Like generation after generation. Like why weren't their parents educated in good schools? Right.
Okay. And that's my point. So whenever it's funny to me when I hear, especially when I hear Black men complaining about single mothers, because they're complaining about themselves.
Okay.
You're complaining about you're complaining about yourself. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, all of these Black men who are, okay, I'm going to put that to the side.
Yeah,
so,
have you ever heard of a streamer called Low Tier God?
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, but that was on some wild shit. Oh, you'd love this dude, but okay, sorry, just.
Why? What did he say?
He's in the Black camp of like,
victimhood?
No, of that like Black men don't do themselves any favors. A lot of them act like fucking losers all the time, and then they blame white people and blah blah blah. That's like his kind of thing. I'm being a little bit more extreme, but like he has a lot of similar positions to you.
I disagree with everything that he said yesterday. So
well, maybe that.
No, I'm just saying, if you wanted to invite him up, I don't think he and I are going to see eye to eye ultimately. But
you would on these Black issues, though, I think, right?
No, I'd not even. I don't think so.
You absolutely would. I think you would. But
there's only one way to find out. But
true. Okay. Maybe next time. Okay.
I think that when it comes to single motherhood, so I don't know if you know or if you've ever heard of have you ever heard of the Moynihan report?
Nope.
Oh God. Okay. How do I?
Well, explain it to me. I think I can understand. Or tell me how, or spell it, and I can look it up.
It was a case study, a book by Patrick Moynihan. Sorry, Daniel Moynihan, and it was a critical analysis of the Black family, and sort of the plight in the Black community in I believe it was 1965. So listen, it is a long report. It is a long piece of literature. So obviously, if you don't have any vested interest in the Black community, you wouldn't need to read it. But the summation of that report was that even in 1965, households, or that generation, that era, households were mainly single mothers. Some of them, a lot of them actually were married single mothers. So at that time, to get a divorce cost money. Mm-hmm. So a Black man used to do, in large numbers, mind you, they would desert their families.
They wouldn't, no divorce, no formal divorce, no nothing, just family desertion. And that was the summation of that. That's what the summation of the report said. It said, yes, while slavery played a role in their position in society, their antisocial behavior also played a role in their positions in society, like Black men, and also them deserting their families played a role. That was sort of the catalyst in the destruction of the Black family. So when Black men
why did Black men desert their families back then? I'm asking because I'm genuinely curious.
Because they didn't want the responsibility. Why does any man do that?
Well, but if you're saying Black people did it more than white people, I'm curious, why did Black people do it more?
I guess at that time, 1965 or the 1960s, they didn't want the responsibility. What do you mean?
Well,
Again,
I'm asking if you're saying Black people did this. Well, I'm curious why Black people did it, but white people didn't. Why did white people want the responsibility, but Black people didn't?
Then now we have to get into psychology, which I love. But I would think that, again, it's that it's being really rooted in that victim mentality and that victim pathology that doesn't really matter what I do anyways. Do you think that was really prevalent in in the early 60s? I truly don't know. I don't know what the attitude was in the Black community. What was really prevalent? The victim mentality in the Black communities. Yeah, it always has been. As soon as they got off the plantation, of course. Okay. And I'm not saying that. Okay,
if you're literally right off the plantation, don't you have the right to act a little bit like a victim? Aren't you kind of a victim?
That's what I was just about to say. I was just about to say that there's some, like, it is justified to an extent, but when it sort of permeates into your personality or into your mentality, that's when it can become destructive, right? You acknowledge things that have happened. You acknowledge a white supremacist system. That's fine. But if that's all you're going to do, you're not going to be able to organize and mobilize to do anything about it. That's the problem.
Sure, so, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
I think that for a very long time, Black men have sort of been shirking their responsibilities as fathers, husbands, community leaders and builders, and they become complacent. And I will say that Black women do have a role to play in that because Black women accepted it. Historically, Black women have always taken care of them. They've always accepted the little that they were given. And Black women have historically been extremely race loyal. So, I mean, in that way, I can understand how Black women also did perpetuate or negatively affect I guess Black men's pathology in that way, because if you don't have to be responsible for anything or anyone, if you know you're going to be taken care of, you don't have to change. The world has to sort of bend to your will and not the other way around. That's kind of the mentality that one would develop, and that makes sense to me. I get that, but now we're in a time where it's like, okay, Black women are kind of pushing back and they're saying, well, we're not okay. Like we don't want struggle love anymore. We don't want your dusty reprobate mentality. We want, socioeconomic stability and mobility. So I think now there's kind of a line in the sand where some Black women are saying, no, we don't want your struggle love. We don't want your absenteeism. We don't want your low marriage rates. Like, we don't want it anymore. But Black men are not really rising up to the mantle of manhood. They're not rising up to the occasion. And that's why you're seeing so much, just a lot of adversity, I would say.
Okay, well.
I feel like you disagree and you're not saying it. I need you to disagree and say it.
Okay, well, first of all, you seem like you really fucking hate Black men, okay? And I've met a few Black women that are like this, okay? I have met a few Black women that are like this, okay? It's fine.
Steven, don't say that.
I understand. Okay, it feels like you have a lot of resentment. But I understand what you're saying. I guess the thing is that I don't necessarily disagree. I just think it's really important to understand both aspects of what's going on. That, like, I don't think that Black men are psychologically or biologically wired differently than, the men of any other race. I just think that depending on the environments you place people in, you get like pretty predictable outcomes in terms of the type of person that you produce, and that it can be really rough to go back or to go later, like 60 or so years, and like, oh, okay, well, now you need to figure everything out, and you need to you need to sort your shit out and do better for your community. When generally we don't expect communities of people to ever do that. right?
Okay, but Steven.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah. But wait, but hold on, but real quick. I agree with what you're saying though. Sometimes that needs to happen. Like if you're sitting there waiting forever for like white people to save you, they're not, you know, it's probably not going to happen. You know, people aren't going to be as invested in your communities as you ever will be.
Why
or should
they?
be, so.
And they shouldn't be.
Well, but they kind of should be, right? I mean, like
no, they. Oh my God. Okay. Listen, Steven.
Anna.
I agree. But the one thing that I think or the one thing that we're missing is, yes, I understand. Intersectionality and, you know, being a product of your environment, blah, 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 blah. But you have to keep in mind that Black women are also being reared in these same neighborhoods, in these same households. But if Black women have been able to transcend their plight to some degree and move the needle in their subjugation to some degree, that does speak to that means something.
Sure, but Black women might have had like maybe the reason why Black women are historically really successful is or maybe the reason why Black women are successful today is historically like tied to, you know, how Black women were brought up, you know, I say brought up in the United States, right? So like here is, I don't know if this is true. I've heard this one time and it might be totally false, right? But it might be the case that in early United States history, women in general didn't work because they were women, right? I think it was like World War II is when you saw this mass mobilization of women workers, but Black women that were slaves were working. So it might be the case that in like the Black community, maybe women historically have been workers more than like white women or women of other races were. And that's part of the reason why, as we move forward into the future, Black women have been able to take up the mantle of being like child rearing and household maintaining and job working in a way that has like exceeded most of what other women of other races are even willing to do. And then combined with the fact that, you know, Black men have historically been, you know, completely disenfranchised in the United States, maybe that like combination of conditions like creates this storm where, you know, now Black men are ultra super fucked in the United States. Maybe?
You don't think, no, you're
okay.
wrong.
Which part? Okay.
You don't think that Black women are disenfranchised as well?
No, I think that Black women are disenfranchised, but maybe
you don't think that being Black and woman is compounds that being subjugated in that way?
No, I'm not saying that. Listen, intersectional, okay? You can have advantages and disadvantages from all sorts of different areas. I'm just saying that maybe Black women
not Black women, maybe white women, not Black women.
Okay, it is an advantage. Jesus, this is such an awkward argument. I'm making an argument for the advantages of Black women being slaves. Okay, bear with me. Jesus fucking Christ.
No, you're making.
I'm just saying that like maybe Black women working through slavery was actually like an advantage into the future of them being more able and willing to like work in an environment where women are working. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
right?
so we'll go with that. But
okay,
if that's the case, do you understand how it's problematic for Black men in the manosphere and on these podcasts to have the opinion that they have of Black women? Do you understand how problematic?
I agree with you 1,000,000%. I'm not like, I'm pushing back against you because I want to represent both sides, but I wouldn't agree with people that are just shitting on Black women or that say like Black women are overly masculine and they're horrible and blah, blah, blah. Like I wouldn't agree with any of those people, of course, right?
So then we can agree that cause and effect relationship, if we're saying, okay, cause and effect, women didn't have a choice. Women had to work on the plantation, off the plantation. Women had to rear their children on the plantation, off the plantation. And women have been socialized to women. Black women didn't have a choice. There was no choice. It was that or die. It was evolve, adapt, or die. And Black women have chose to adapt and evolve. And as a result, have been superimposed into these sort of, I guess, what people would call masculine positions. But then at the same time, Black men turn around and weaponize that. And that for me is a problem, right?
Sure.
Because
I can understand
a lot of Black men will say, a lot of Black men will predicate their argument of, oh, I only date white women because of, and that's the reason. And so if that's the reason, then like, that's a problem because you're completely, I don't even.
You're punishing essentially Black women for having to be like the sole caretakers of their families, like historically, because of historical conditions that were largely outside of their control, right? It's basically a big fuck you to all of the Black women that have been working to build their families and communities and assume.
It's a fuck you to themselves, though. Like, it's not just, you're not just saying fuck you to Black women. Like, listen. Interracial dating is interesting to me. And
okay. Is it because you want another example for you to shit on Black men? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want me to kill you? I'm gonna kill you. I
Okay,
don't
wait,
hate them.
hold on. Control your anger. I gotta throw something in the wash real quick before my wife kills me. 1 second, hold on.
Is it okay if I talk to them? Okay, guys, I
Yeah,
know you
always.
think I hate black men. I get it. You know, I get it. But you have to try to understand what I'm saying and what I'm coming from. Sorry, where I'm coming from. It's late, I'm tired. I don't hate black men. Actually, an argument can be made that black men hate themselves. And I'll make that argument later. But I personally don't hate them. I believe that they need to do better as a collective. I believe that they need to be accountable individually and collectively. And I need that they just stop being victims, you know? I get it. It's been rough. But, you know, if you take umbrage with a system, you have to sort of address the system. You kind of, you know, if you have a problem with the pedagogy or the, you know, education system, I don't know, you gotta create your own. And no one's saying it's easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but it can be done. It's just that black men are more interested in leaning into victimhood because that gives them an excuse to do nothing, to be complacent, and to not challenge these systems, to not take initiative and build these communities and build these schools. It's a problem. You have to try, be objective. I understand, like, a lot of you guys are like black men apologists, whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Power isn't given, it's taken. Like, that's how that works. So if you're powerless, if you're a group of powerless men, like you kind of have to do something about that. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, I still love you guys. I know you hate me, but I still love you. I promise I'm a good person. Am I? Yeah, I'm a good person. Oh no. I don't even know how to Yeah, no, I'm a good person. Don't worry. Yeah, why would I hate black men? Like, make it make sense. Nobody hates black men. Black men hate themselves, if anything. I don't hate black men. I'm just not delusional. Sorry. I've done the research. I'm not Booty Goon Samuels. I'm not bald and burnt. I know. I know I understand what's happening in the black communities. I know, I've seen the numbers. I'm just not delusional. And sometimes I can come across as hateful. I get it.
Well, people are saying you're wilding.
I'm wilding.
Well, okay, so I'm kind of curious. I'm not leading you anywhere with this. But when people like Candace Owens talk about like escaping the plantation, what are your like feelings on statements like that?
Oh, I don't really follow Candace Owens. What is
She's just like a black conservative in the United States.
What did she say?
Fuck, I don't actually. I'm gonna get this wrong, but I think she talks about like when she talks about like escaping the plantation, she's talking about getting off like the left-leaning party's plantation of like understanding that you always have to vote for left-leaning systemic changes and that people need to take more responsibility for themselves and black people need to stop being victims of it. But if you haven't heard of her, it's not really interesting to get your opinion on it because I'm just explaining it now. So yeah.
No, I've heard of her, but I haven't. I've never sat down and listened to her. I don't know what any of her talking points or political leanings or positions are. Like I don't know, but I'm sure if she's a proponent of communities and individuals being accountable, then yeah, I agree with that.
Are you broadly like a conservative in Canada or a left-leaning person or?
No, I'm actually very liberal.
Okay, gotcha.
I actually am. Like I work in social work, right? So I work with marginalized and criminalized populations. A lot like in shelters and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I'm liberal actually.
All right.
But again, it's like I can't. once you see something, you can't unsee it. Like, I can't pretend that what's happening in the Black community is not happening, especially when you have like the Black manosphere and these red pill movements that are so adamant about what they think the problems are in the Black community, and they're just wrong. Like, they're wrong. Like, a lot of Black men will say, or a lot of Black men will ask, one of the first questions that they'll ask is, "Are you married?" Like, when I'll engage them and just have a conversation with them, which that's even trying to do that. That's an L. I have to stop doing that because it just like, it's so degenerate. It goes nowhere. But the first thing that they'll say to you is, "Are you married?" And their intention is to disqualify you if you say you're not. Like, they try to weaponize being married, like that's a disqualifier, like that's a checkmate. But like, Black men are not getting married. So it's really not a disqualifier. Like, Black men you're not getting married. You don't, it's not like Black men are out here with like high marriage rates and successful marriages. You're not getting married. So it's not an L for Black women. It's an L for Black men. Men initiate marriage. Like, if men as a collective or a community or a culture does not value marriage, like, it's not incumbent upon the women. It's men. Men have to value marriage. You have to value the institution. You have to value the implications that will have on your family, your family structure, and they don't in the Black community. So when they come up here and they try to, "Are you married?" Like you're really you're trying to disqualify me. Like, are you like really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but I understand what you're saying. No,
but I'm just saying, like, that's why it's difficult to engage them, because they're not really trying to get to a solution. They're trying to disqualify you. They're trying to denigrate you. They're trying to weaponize any vulnerability that you may have against you, just so that they can win, or what they might perceive in their mind as win. It's not that they're trying to get to some sort of solution or resolution. That's not the objective. And I've had conversations with Black men on these platforms, and it's the same shit over and over and over and over and over. Like, it's just like, that's why I can't really engage them. If I do, it'll get spicy, because I can't deal with the degeneracy. I can't deal with the reprobate mentality. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't deal with the myopia. I cannot do it.
Okay. Can I? Oh, fuck. Never mind. This guy's a coward. Another Black man coward. I'm trying to find a Black guy that wants to jump on and chat with you.
No, don't do that.
You don't want to.
No, I'm not. No, you can, anybody can come up, but I'm saying don't. Oh, fuck. It's too late.
Well, I'm saying I feel bad because I can't give like the other end of the story here. I'm not like, despite my name being Destiny, I am actually not a good like representative of the Black male community to defend against.
No, I know you weren't, and I remember I told you I wanted to talk about this. Not to this extent. I heard you say something about like, "Oh, fuck women. I don't respect women," some shit like that.
I said that?
You did verbatim, yeah.
Oh, I imagine if I did, I was probably joking, but
no. Well, not in that context.
Wait, what was the context of the clip?
Oh no, I watched the entire stream.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Like, what was the when did I say that comment?
Like which video, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I sent it to you. I sent it to you on Instagram, and I said we need to talk about this. Do you remember?
Well, I don't know if it's hard for me to watch shit on my phone. This is why I get triggered when you send me voice things, okay?
I'm sorry, I won't do it anymore, I promise.
Yeah. No, it's okay, but it's hard for me to like listen to shit on my phone because then I gotta like find a quiet place, I've gotta stop, I gotta listen. Okay, wait, do you wanna have a short conversation with a member of my community? He's the moderator of my subreddit, so he's a trustworthy guy. He's not gonna be crazy.
Yeah, that's fine. I trust you, so
okay.
I'm good.
I trust this guy. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna throw him into this call. It's gonna start another one real quick, okay? Okay. And then, actually, hold on. Give me 1 sec, and then I'll start this call. Hold on, 1 second. Sorry. My wife just got home from like a trip. Let me say hi to her real quick. Hold on.
Okay. Anywho? Does everybody still hate me? Oh, God. Still. Oh, I would love to talk to Abba. I would live to talk to Abba. What do you mean? Love it. He could get the smoke too, of course. Listen, guys in the chat, people in the chat, it's probably not like it's not smart for you to say, oh, someone hurt her, she's been hurt. Like, I mean, in the context of this conversation, Black men are hurting everybody, including themselves. So let's not do that. They hurt their communities, they hurt the women, they hurt the children, they toe tag each other. Like, let's not do that. That's the reality. She's been hurt. Oh, who hurt you? Oh my God. Black men are hurting everybody. What do you mean? I don't deal with them, so I'm good. Like I'm impervious to the black male degeneracy. I'm impervious to it. I'm good. But again, the whole who hurt you doesn't really work. Because even if somebody says, hey, black men hurt me, it doesn't negate the truth. Doesn't take away from the fact that, yikes, black men are the ones doing the hurting.
Okay. Oh boy. Oh man. People are saying you're wildin'. Is that true? Wait, can you still hear me? Oh, I hope this didn't fuck it up. Abba just sent me, I think Abba's out partying, okay? I'm bringing on Forethought. Forethought, pick up.
What's up?
Are you okay, little buddy?
Listen, dude. I'm heated, alright? I'm a little heated.
What are you heated about?
It's just, this interesting pattern that I notice is that when black women overcome...
Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm gonna add another black person, okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. I'm good.
Okay. I can't hear Anna, whatever the fuck her name is anymore. Hopefully she starts talking. Fuck. No, why did she... Oh, God. Anna, if you're trying to talk your shit...
Honestly, I really can't stay on the call.
Okay, I don't know why you even offered to call then. Leave. I'm sorry, I love you. Be careful.
That's important or no?
No, Abba. I need your strength.
No,
I need
Abba's not even listening to this, okay? Bye. I love you. Bye.
What happened?
There's a black woman here, and she is attacking the whole black community, and I can't mount... Oh, now she left.
Oh, God.
Listen, as a white man, you
back.
can't say anything to black women. If she says the black is trash, just agree and walk away, because black women are never wrong.
Okay, he's doing it. Okay, stop. Abba, leave. Forethought, you're here for a serious discussion.
No, they're never wrong. Just don't bother. Listen.
Hold on.
Black women are affected by misogyny and racism. They are 3 layers deeper than you in terms of prejudice. So anything they say is always accurate. All right. If she says I'm a pig, oink oink. If she's just a racist, get your pitchfork, and it's the end of the story.
Okay, well, if you're going to patronize me, then we're going to have a problem. Why don't you flesh the idea out?
I'm filing down towing or something. Can you hear that? That's music.
Okay, Abba, leave. I don't know why you joined. Leave, Abba, leave. Abba, leave. I'm sorry. He wasn't supposed to be here. He snuck in here. Abba, leave. Get out. Leave. Abba, you're being a poor... Thank you. Okay, Forethought. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how he got on this call.
Abba's a punk. He didn't want the smoke. Yeah,
No, that was my anger translator.
Okay, no. Okay. Forethought is our more reasonable representative of the black community. Okay, go ahead.
So it
I think Abba's actually is pretty apt.
Okay, let's just... We gotta... Please. Okay, talk to Forethought. He's a good guy. Okay, Forethought, what's going on? Talk to me.
Give me a second. It just seems like when black women overcome any sort of discrimination or are victims of any sort of discrimination, you are very happy to either put that on a system such as patriarchy or ascribe the positives entirely to the nature of black women themselves, which is just really odd. Because when you say like black men do better, when you were asked like, hey, what should they do? You just didn't want to engage with that at all. I'm super curious. What else is there?
I didn't want to engage with it because, again, if we can't concede and come to a meeting of the minds as to what the issue is, we're never going to come to a solution.
So
what's the point?
What do you think the principal issue is that people don't agree on?
People as in black men and black women?
Sure.
Accountability. Black men are saying women need to be accountable. Black women are saying black men need to be accountable. I think both are right. I think there's truth to both of those positions. But ultimately, I think if we're talking about what needs to be done in the black community, we're looking to men to take initiative because they're not.
In what way specifically are black men not taking initiative? Like, is it they aren't working hard enough? They aren't going for high enough paying jobs?
Yeah, all of the above. Sure. They're not marrying women. They're not marrying their women enough. They're not raising their children.
When you say their women, what do you mean?
Black women.
Why do they need to marry black women?
What do you mean? Self-preservation.
Why are you interested in preserving a race?
Why not?
Because it seems dumb.
That seems dumb? Really?
Yes.
Preserving a race seems dumb?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because it doesn't really mean a lot to me, so...
Okay, right. Okay, so I don't care what means a lot to you or what doesn't mean a lot to you. I'm telling you that it's very normal for people who look like each other to marry each other. It's been like that forever. And it's still that way for most people in the world except for black men. Because if you look at the rate that they're dating interracially, they're dating at the highest rate. So I think understand why you would feel that way.
If I can reframe what she's saying in a slightly more charitable way.
Shut up.
I think she's talking about the proclivity of black men against other races.
Shut up, Steven.
Go ahead.
So, are black women also not dating out?
No, not at the same rate, and not nearly. Black women are dating out, but they're still overwhelmingly dating black men exclusively. But yeah, sure, they are.
Okay,
not as much as they should be.
Should it, like, if black women are indeed these high earners, these valuable people that are doing well for themselves, that are pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, etc., why is it on them to date shitty black men when they can date cute Asian guys?
Why isn't it on black men to say we should be better men because we're so shitty?
No, like, let's ignore that for a second.
Hold on. One second. So, unfortunately for you, it's not that black men are just terrible partners to their black counterparts. They're terrible with white women, they're terrible with Asian women, and they're terrible with Hispanic women. As a matter of fact, with white women, they have a 200% divorce rate. So this is a problem that black men need to remedy if they're going to have any success in any relationship with any race or culture ever in life.
Okay, I'll say that's true. Why do black men need to get married at all? If they suck, let them suck. Why can't black women reproduce outside of their race and get with the high value men that they want, that they deserve?
Why are you using the word high? Okay, high value men. Okay, so
I'm just communicating in this like red pill space that people talk about. I don't give a shit about this. This is really
right.
silly.
Mm-hmm. So you're asking me why don't I? And to be honest, I think that black women should.
Black women should what? Did you say date outside of their race or what?
Yeah, absolutely, they should.
Okay, so black men can just suck until they stop, and then black women can date them. But I don't get this fixation.
This has been revelatory and productive. Do you have any?
Yeah, I'm just like, there's this really weird schism I notice within the black community as a person of color myself, that there are black people that want all of black people to be a certain thing, and that could be a certain race, a certain culture, a certain stereotype that honestly I'm not preferable to. And it's really like kind of disgusting. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like you're kind of revolting as a person.
Jesus.
That like.
So I'm not going to engage again. I'm not going to engage with you. First of all. Second of all, I don't think that it's unrealistic for women of any race to not want their men to be degenerate, to want their men to uphold and value family structures and family values and community. Yeah, that is repulsive. I agree.
So if
no,
black
I'm
men...
done talking to you. I'm done talking to you. Go slap
Okay.
yourself. This conversation's over.
All right, that's cool.
Okay, do you have any final
Steve?
thoughts for the audience?
I told
slap
you.
yourself on the way out. I told you. I can't talk to
told
these
you.
degenerate, reprobate black men. Like, go cry somewhere else, sir. Bye.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, now I don't trust you anymore because you're not a good judge of character.
What? He's fine. He's fine.
That is not good.
Wait,
Steven.
hold on. What do you mean I'm not a good judge of character?
You said he's, and so maybe I'm wrong because he is representative of black men. He's obviously degenerate. I mean, outside of I wasn't making any personal attacks. He got personal with me first. Do we agree?
Fuck.
Oh no! Rewind the tape. Well,
hold on. I'm trying to think of what you consider personal because I think he started with saying that when black women like engage with the system, they give like a lot of props to black women for overcoming it, but they blame like was that a personal attack to you? Or I don't remember who made the first. I don't know if you would what you would consider a personal attack or not. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. A
personal attack is you are a disgusting human being. That's personal, no?
Yeah, that is true. He did say that.
Okay, right. So this is what black men do. So because they can't push back factually, statistically on any of your talking points. They don't bring anything intellectual. They don't bring anything intellectual to the table. So what do they do? Right? They do exactly what he did. So no, actually, you are a good judge of character. He is a representative of black men. He just sounds effeminate. So yeah, no, he is representative. So yeah, no, you did your due diligence, but I won't be engaging with any black males moving forward because this is what they're going to do because they can't historically, factually, statistically, or maybe because they don't have the information. Maybe they're just stupid. I don't know.
Okay,
but
hold on. Just curious. Do you feel like you're being a little bit racist, or is that not part of this conversation? Because I feel like you're being really harsh right now. Or it feels like you're...
He just told me he doesn't know me from a can of paint to tell me I'm a horrible person. I didn't personally say, sir, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but I think the feeling with the way that you're phrasing everything sounds
right.
Like
well, okay. Well, listen.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I can remember a talking point that a lot of black men would use. Oh, you might not like the way Kevin Samuels talks, but he's right. Everything he's saying is true. Right. Okay. So apply that to me then. That applies to me too. You might not like my verbiage. You might not like the tone with which I speak in. That's cool. But what I'm saying, is it right? Focus on the talking points. Is it incorrect or is it correct? That's what you need to focus on. Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
But because they can't, and they can't because they don't have the information. They don't have the information because they don't have the bandwidth. This is what they do. So no, he is a representative of black men collectively. I agree. And it's not for you to be like, oh, Anna, like, I can't speak on behalf of black men. Obviously, you can't speak on behalf of anybody but white, cisgender, or actually, you're bisexual, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant. I'm still cis. I'm still white. Don't worry.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, and I understand that. And I don't want to like. I don't want to.
Do you know who the sharp one is from NoJumper?
No.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I don't want to like.
I don't watch that show.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. Do you? I don't know what. Do you want to?
Destiny, do you hate me? Oh my god, you.
No. It's not that I. It's not that I hate you. It's that I've had a lot of black people on recently that are like pretty down on the black community, and then I feel bad because I can give you like the standard talking points, but obviously you've got like you're coming at it from a more lived experiences point of view, and it feels weird for me to push back too much on that. But I feel like you're saying a lot of stuff where I feel like I kind of have to.
No, you don't know. You don't have to agree with me. You can. Push
No.
Back,
it's not a matter of
disagree.
Okay. Can I? Okay. So this, I'm not saying I'm a judge of character or whatever. So NoJumper is like a decently big podcast. They've got a guy that a lot of black people on that podcast. So you don't have to do this, but I'm curious. Do you want to chat with one guy from that real quick? I can drag him into a call and say how you feel, or you don't have to at all. We can just move to another topic. It's up to you. I'm curious to hear you like engage back and forth with a black guy, and then you can with somebody that wants to like defend their point of view or whatever. I'm just curious if you're interested in that.
So this is a black male from a
From a podcast called NoJumper. He's called The Sharp One.
I've heard of NoJumper. I've never seen their content. So
okay.
Do I want to shoot myself in the foot?
Well, if it's really bad, we can just hang up. You're not like obligated to it or anything, but like.
I know, but what do you think is going to happen? Like, let me, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
I can be respectful. I promise you that I can. When I'm having this conversation with you, I'm being gratuitous, and I'm sort of, I'm unloading the clip a little bit because I'm not directing any of my statements to you, and because I actually do like you. I think you have a brilliant mind, but in terms of an actual debate or discourse,
mm-hmm.
I can be respectful and I can adhere to whatever framework has been given or whatever sort of, rules. I can adhere to kind of anything. And if someone's going to be respectful with me, I'll be respectful with them. But the minute that doesn't happen, it's not going to...
Yeah, I agree 100%. If this person starts like being disrespectful, then we can just end the call with them and then we'll just move on to the next topic if you want to do that. Is that okay?
Okay, but can people follow me on Instagram if I'm going to be like probably, if this is going to go like viral because another black degenerate male is going to try to like do what they always, is it going to try to Kevin Samuels me? Like,
yeah. Do you want?
I have to get something out of this.
Sure. I'll link your Instagram in the chat. Okay.
Because it's not going to be the intellect.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Okay. I got you. I'll plug your IG. No problem. Okay.
Oh God, this is going to be bad.
Okay. Well, I believe in you. Okay. I just want to hear yeah.
You don't believe in me. You want to see me. You want to see this as much as they do.
No. I feel like I have a responsibility to apply a little bit of pushback and I'm not the person to do it. So we're jumping. Okay. I'm throwing you to a new call. Here you go. I'm adding someone else in here. Hello.
Yo.
Hi. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick so everybody, can know who you are and know what's up, and then everybody,
Sharp from NoJumper.
Okay. Somebody guilty messaged me and he said that you were listening to this conversation. You wanted to chat with my lovely friend Anna over here a little bit. Yeah, you guys can go back and forth.
Hi, I'm Annalicia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ann. Nice to meet you.
Annalicia.
Annalicia, excuse me. I'm sorry. What's the problem, sweetie? Why are you so mad at us? What's the problem?
I don't like the condescension already. Oh God.
I'm asking a question. I'm just asking a question.
Don't do the sweetie thing, guys. Oh God.
Cool.
Oh no.
Because I'm trying to pull you back to our side because this is very embarrassing for our black women.
This is embarrassing, you think? Oh no. Okay.
I think so.
Well, I don't have a problem with you personally. I don't know you.
I don't got a problem with you either, sweetie. I'm not here to poke you. I'm here just to ask a question.
You're asking me what is my problem?
Yeah, what's your problem with your people? Because we are your people. I'm a black man, so I feel like I am your people. So I'm with you. I'm not against you.
Right, but I mean, that sentiment, while I love and it makes me feel warm inside, is not this sentiment that's really being practiced in the black community largely. And I think that you and I can agree that black men aren't really treating black women in the way that sentiment would suggest. Do you disagree?
But that's not true, sweetie. And you know what? That's
Can
just
we not
what we
put the
see.
sweetie? Like, I'm so old. I'm old.
Okay, Annalicia, I'm older too, so I'm not a kid. So I'm not trying to disrespect you at all. But like I said, you have to think about it. Them are black men. There's black men that do that you don't see on TV. So I don't want us to try to stereotype it because we see people on TV or tabloids or social media fucking up or doing shit of the such. I don't want you to have to sit there and say that's all black men because that's not true. And and a lot of us, myself included, I'm not raising my black soldier, my son, I'm not raising him to be anything like that. I want him to have a family, have a wife, take care of his business. It's all about the ones that are willing to break the cycle. I'm willing to break the cycle. So you can't speak for everybody. Even if that's one, that means that that's not everybody. And I know I don't stand alone.
Listen, I agree with everything that you're saying. And sorry, what do you want me to call you?
My name is Sharp.
Sharp. Okay, Sharp.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that you're saying. And I didn't say all black men. It would be dangerous for me to say all black men.
But you never said some either. So that was dangerous as well. That was dangerous as well, right? You didn't never said some.
Well, when I say black men, it's kind of implied. So for example, and just let me flesh this out. When you say something like all. It infers absolutism, right? Or it creates an absolute framework to work from. But if you take all out and you just say black men or black, women or this or that, it becomes statistically provable. And that's what I'm doing. I'm speaking in generalities, and I'm also speaking from a statistically informed perspective. So I'm not like talking that talk because I watch TV and I see like gangbangers and this and that. I'm speaking because I've done the research. I'm in the communities. This is my purview. This is what I do professionally as well. And I'm a black woman. So I just don't want you to misunderstand.
And I understood that. And that's what I had found disgusting about the situation. Not saying that you are, but from what I'm hearing, is just very disgusting, because it's like, do you have a man in your life right now?
Yeah, see, I'm not doing that either.
I'm asking, do you have a man in your life? It doesn't matter what color he is.
Right, but why is that
relevant? It doesn't matter what color he is. Do you have a man in your life right now?
I agree. It doesn't matter what color he is, but it also doesn't matter
Do
at all.
I'm answering your questions. You can answer mine. I'm trying to listen. I'm
not asking you personal questions.
Do you? No, because you already came in very bitter and standoffish.
But I'm not. I didn't.
You're in here, but you're in here.
He's doing exactly what she said.
You're in here trying to keep your
no.
Steven, you see what I said was going to happen? And it's happening.
No, that's just you being defensive. That's all it is, and you're not trying to be receptive.
Sir,
but be receptive, sweetie. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, Alicia.
I have foresight, and I know I have enough foresight to know what direction conversations are going to. Like, this is not my first rodeo, right? Like, I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
It sounds like it is, though. You're more going off of my research, but you're not even with us. You're not talking about where you done stood. You're just talking about, just with my research, and fuck your research. Come back
I didn't say just my research.
Come back with your people,
I said that I'm in the community. I understand the fight.
Take the sheet off your head.
I do this for a living. That's what I said.
Take the sheet off your head and come back to us. It's okay. It's okay.
You know what?
No one's against you. We have open arms for you.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
We have open arms for you.
I'm gonna do that. You're right.
I think we're
I think we've hit the wall.
I think we're getting to the end of the conversation here.
And I think you need to start listening to me a little bit more often.
I did listen to you, but I just think you're a very bitter.
No, I said Steven. No, sorry.
I'll tell you the real. And I know this for a fact. If you went up and even told another sister this, you probably would get your ass kicked.
Sure.
Let's be real. You would never. I don't think that you're in the community. I think that you're a liar, and I think that you're sitting up over here feeding everybody a bunch of bullshit. And I love black women. We just don't like you. You're the bitter one. You are the bitter one, sweetie.
Okay.
You're very bitter.
Okay.
All right. I thank you, Sharp, for coming on. I appreciate the conversation.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, man. Hey, we don't claim her. She's a very
nobody wants to be claimed by you.
She's a very off-brand individual.
Thank you.
That's why she couldn't even answer the man that she even had a man.
Stop crying, sir. Stop crying. It's
okay. Nobody ever cried. You can always come on my show, and I'll roast you tenfold. I'll roast you tenfold on an even bigger platform. So let's calm down here. Let's calm down here.
You have a good night, sir.
You sound very bitter, and you
have a good night, sir.
You can tell that you've hit the wall.
I know.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yep. Good luck. All right.
Hey, good luck to you all.
All right, Stephen. This is called foresight.
Okay.
I don't want to say I told you so. But I'm getting to that point with you, and I'm losing my hope and faith in you.
Listen, I didn't vouch for him.
Getting bad.
I'm just trying to get. There's got to be better black men in the community.
But why are black men coming up here confirming everything that I've said? If everything that I said is wrong, why can't they engage in a respectful manner? Was I disrespectful? Be honest. Be objective.
No, you weren't.
So why can't they engage like mature? They're confirming everything that I'm saying. You would think that men who are hearing these things are going to they're going to push back in a way by leading by example. I'm going to show her I can engage in the conversation. I have the information. I can push back on the data and the statistics. They're not doing that. It's who hurt you? You're bitter. Oh, where's your man? You can't disqualify me. You can't validate or invalidate me. You can't validate my parking, sir. Who are you? Like the very idea, and this is what I'm saying with these podcasts and these black men, they're so entitled. Like the idea that they think that they can validate someone or invalidate someone.
Like, sir, slap yourself. What are you talking? You can't. Like, black men are not socioeconomically or politically in the position to invalidate anyone. Validate yourselves first. Like for real. You're not in a position, sir. Stop it.
Okay.
Would you like to talk about statistics?
Oh, Jesus.
I thought I told you to slap yourself when you sit in a corner earlier. I'm not talking to you.
Even if I apologize?
Even if you apologize? Yeah.
You're kind of being the black woman stereotype.
Yeah,
right
I know.
Stop,
That's fine.
Why would you say that? Is it racism all the way down? Is that what we do? Is that okay? Leave. Before I thought leave. Listen.
Like, that's all you guys have. You're so
We're playing
weak
Apex
and
tomorrow. We
remedial.
gotta talk.
Okay, bye.
Hey, I offered to
remedial.
talk about the statistics. You don't want to.
Oh my god.
No, okay, for that, maybe
No,
later.
she's a strong woman.
I don't
A
wanna
single
talk to
insult
you.
broke her. I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to talk to you.
We don't have to. I'm just talking to
Okay,
you.
okay. So then I'm gonna
Listen,
enjoy my
we're gonna
night.
talk
You guys
tomorrow.
take care.
Later.
Well, no,
Listen,
he's-
Steven.
Okay, wait, he left. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's take a deep breath.
No, you need. Listen. Now I'm gonna have a problem with you.
What is your problem
You're
with
doing
me?
this.
What?
You're doing it now.
What am I doing?
You're putting me into the position that I told. Like, I have foresight, and I told you what would happen, and it's happening. And now you're just like, what? Black men do what? Like, no, this is what they do.
No,
This
listen,
is a part
I
of
understand what you're saying. Okay, hold on. I have a large platform. I've got a lot of people that listen to me. I've got you saying a lot of things about a group of people where you're generalizing pretty hard. And I feel like I have at least a little...
Is it what?
It might not be wrong. It might not necessarily be wrong.
No,
but
then don't say that it's a generalization.
Well, no.
These are statistical facts.
That's fine that it's statistical facts, but they still come in the form that your rhetoric is very harsh. Okay, so I have at least.
Understand, and
I have
I
at
told
least.
you.
Listen. I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I have at least some responsibility to bring on at least a couple of black men to plead their case, because otherwise it looks like I'm just bringing you on.
It looks bad on you. Okay,
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily just bad on me, but I'm saying that like it almost looks like I'm using you to like shit on black people or black men or whatever. And
No,
that, like,
yeah,
that's,
so
yeah,
yeah, okay, Steven,
yeah.
the optics look bad, and I agree, and I'm sorry.
No, I'm not even talking about optics. I'm just saying in terms of platforming. So I'm not trying to bring people on to ambush you. And like I said, I ask you every time if you want, you can. If you don't have, and I won't bring in anybody else. But I'm just saying I had to at least provide some counter voices just to, and then now people can make their judgments or whatever. You said they would say some things, and they did. So you were right. So that's. But I have the responsibility to at least like give some pushback, and that's what I did. Okay, so
right, but like I'm willing to engage in the conversation. I promise you, I was willing to engage respectfully. I have the capacity. Like, I have the range, I have the depth, and I have the patience to a degree, to an extent. But once they personalize things, and once they, if you move left with me, you get left. And I don't want to continue to have this conversation with black men if they don't know how to be men. If they're going to act like petulant children, then I'm going to meet them where they are. And they're not going to like it. So
Okay.
that's the bottom line.
Gotcha. And that's fair. That's totally fair. Okay. Do you want to move on to a different topic, or what do you want to?
Listen, I'm well versed. I can talk about absolutely anything. It just so happens that I'm like in the community, so I can have these conversations, but I can really talk about anything. Actually, I wanted to talk about the biracial girl yesterday, if that's okay, or is that going to be too controversial?
You know what? Do what you want. Go ahead. This is your time to speak. Biracial girl yesterday. Go. What was the topic? Can you remind me?
I guess biracial women and sort of being identityless. Do you remember that?
Ooh, being identityless.
Like not really fitting in one group or another, or sort of having a feeling.
Oh, sure. Like the plight of like kind of mixed race people in
biracial,
general.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. What about it?
I don't want to see, but again, I don't want to. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. Okay.
Well, you're way too late for that, so let's not worry about that. Okay.
The last group of people on the planet that I'm worried about in terms of what they think about me is black men. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I was worried about that, like I would be like in Siberia somewhere. I don't care what black men have to say or think or like.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. It's a little problematic when you speak like that. No.
No, but think about it. If I did care, what do you think that would do to me?
I mean, like, we should care about what we should care about what all of our brothers and sisters think about us, right?
Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Listen,
no, wait. Hold on, wait. Seriously though, you can't just say I don't care what all black men think, right? That's a little fucking mean, right?
But I'm talking about a specific demographic. I'm talking
okay,
about
wait,
black
then you
men
can say that. Say that specific demographic, but we can't just say I don't care what any black men think, right? That's kind of fucked up.
I thought that it was tacitly implied. I don't care about what degenerate black males think about me.
Okay.
I don't care about what, like, this specific demographic, the ones who subscribe to Red Pill and the
okay, that's fine. Yeah, Red Pill black dudes, whatever, all that shit. That's fine. I agree with that. Okay.
But as a general matter, first of all, I respect any and everybody. I promise you I do. Like, if you saw me in the workplace, if you saw me at school, like, I'm a respectful person. I'm actually very funny. I think I'm funny. People have told me that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I also and I care about the people that care about me. And I'm like, I will defend them fiercely to the death. And I love hard, but I'm also not someone who you can't just say anything you want to me. Like, it doesn't work like that. It never has and it never will. Mm-hmm. I've gotten better. So I've gotten to a point where I can be like, oh, I know where this is going. I know what type of time you're on. I'm going to keep it moving. And I can kind of, like, I maneuver out of those situations. Whereas when I was younger, I probably would have been screaming at that last caller, like, all night. It would, like, but I've gotten to a point where I'm like, oh, you, like, it's the same old. So it's like, yeah, I know how to test the temperature of the room. I kind of understand now. So I've gotten better. But I do care about what people, I care about people, generally speaking. And I obviously care about what people think of me, but only to the extent that I have a relationship with them and I respect them and I love them. Outside of that, it's like, yeah, people are going to have opinions of you that you're not going to like. That is life.
Sure,
and
I understand that. I'm just saying that for me, like, it might be okay in a group of friends to say that, like, I don't care what black men think, but on a larger platform, I have to be a little bit more responsible, right? I can't just, because that's like, yeah, it just comes across a little different in, like, a larger platform, right?
Yeah, no, I respect that. And I'm sorry. I don't want to, this is not going to get you in trouble.
No, it's not. I don't care about getting in trouble. It's not that. I just want to make sure that, like, that I just don't want to have the impression that I'm, like, chill with people coming on and being like, I don't give a fuck about black men or whatever. Like, it's not like a.
Listen, if it's any consolation, you've been extremely cavalier. No, I should say, been copying a plea for black men. You're like black men's public defender, and you've been doing an okay job. So I hope that's a consolation. Like, if anybody watches this stream, they're not going to be like, oh, he's a white supremacist. They're going to be like, oh yeah, no, he can come to the cookout.
Okay, that's all I really wanted. Okay, so thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. All right, we're moving on from black men. You had other issues you want to talk about. Is there anything else you want to chat about? Yeah, while we're here.
What did you think about that conversation yesterday with the that's kind of biracial plight?
That's a way too broad a question. I suck at answering those. What did I think about a conversation? More specifically, like, do I think that, like, biracial people have, like, a unique place that they occupy that makes it hard for them to associate with people, or what do you mean? Or, like, what is more specifically? Yeah.
So what I found interesting when I just listening yesterday, and because I can't remember everything verbatim, but I do remember she said that when she's in, I think she said it's like she doesn't have a group that she can really fully integrate and identify with. And I know a lot of biracial people. I'm not biracial myself, but I know a lot of biracial people. I know I'm, like, light skinned, I have green eyes, so it's very deceiving, but I'm not biracial. But the biracial people that I know, I think what I sort of wonder is why can't biracial people kind of, biracial is its own category. It's its own group.
The problem is it doesn't often get treated like its own group by different groups of people, and the sometimes being treated like a different group, oftentimes what happens is you don't get treated like your own group, you get treated like no group. I think that's the issue that biracial people have.
Right, but if they want to be recognized as being a sort of distinct group and not feel like they have to choose, or not feel like they don't have their own identity, then they do have to, like, they have to organize in a very particular way with other.
That's the challenge, though, right? Is that, like, biracial people depending on where you're at, are never going to have that same type of acceptance that a white person will have for another white person, and might not get that same type of acceptance that like,
no, that's my point. No, yeah. Stephen, that's my point. My point is, the Black community is different. And this, I kind of go back and forth with how I feel about this. The Black community, any percentage of Black you're in, like,
wait, hold on. I don't think that's true. You might be treated that way by a white person. No, hold on. It's not.
But what? You're telling me?
Okay, first of all, I don't even believe you that you haven't had people treat you that way, because you are very light-skinned. There's no way that you haven't had people make comments about you being mixed race, or you haven't had that experience in certain Black communities, no?
No, I have had people ask me for sure, like, oh, well, what are you? Like that kind of a racial ambiguity. I've definitely encountered that. But in terms of like the not knowing where I belong, not having that identity, I don't have that plight. I've never had that plight. And my upbringing, the way that I was raised, is different than the way that a biracial person is raised. But my point is, biracial people don't have to choose to be in the Black community or the white community. Black people overwhelmingly will accept them and sort of ingratiate them into the Black community just based on the fact that they're half Black. But I think that it would probably be more advantageous for biracial people to just have their own, like, they are their own category.
Do you think that this might only be true in like Canadian Black culture? Do you think this might not necessarily?
No.
Okay. Okay, listen. We got to talk about something besides racial stuff, because I just can't be. I can only repeat what I've heard from other biracial people. Because I don't have the biracial experience, so I don't know. I can't disagree with you. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
Wait, hold on. You don't think that it's possible for biracial people to sort of like organize and support each other and create and sort of create their own community for them to, like, you don't think that's possible?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because we don't usually ask people to create their own communities. People are generally born into communities that accept them, right? It's hard to tell people to just like make their own.
But if they're struggling with their identity, their racial identity, because they belong to two separate racial groups, then I mean, doesn't it only makes sense because I understand that, like I said, I have a lot of biracial like friends, and I understand that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I forget. I understand, but what I'm saying is, biracial people are not Black, they're not white, they're biracial. Like, that is the group that they belong to, and I don't know why that's like wrong. Like, I don't know why it's wrong. Like, I can see, I understand, because I know a lot of Black people kind of superimpose them into the Black community, and then they kind of expect them to act Black when they're not fully Black, they're biracial. So I understand that, but yeah, biracial is biracial. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's
it's not a matter of it there being anything wrong with it. It's just that I think sometimes they feel like they don't have a community they belong to.
Right, but Pete, you have to. But communities are built, right?
No,
they don't just like exist.
Well, I think for a lot of people they do. I think you're born into communities, right? Like, a single Black person didn't build the Black community. You're born into like a Black community. Or a white person didn't build the white community. They're born into the white community.
Right, but it only became a community when they organized together and they had collective ideas and cultural norms. And
sure, but most people don't have to build their own community. They're just born into one. They kind of take it for granted, generally, I think. Like, I didn't have to build any of my community. Well, I mean, on Twitch or YouTube I did, but like, I didn't have to build like a white community. I was just born into it. Like, other white people did that for me. And it's true for a lot of Black people and mixed race people, right? Like, your communities exist and you're born into them, right?
Right, but if you have a unique identity and experience, then that wouldn't apply to you. And it doesn't. You have to know it wouldn't apply to you.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of complicated because it feels like there's a lot of overlap sometimes, and then there's a lot of not overlap sometimes. But I'm not gonna be the best person to talk to about this.
Okay, you know what, Steven?
Just things not related to being Black. That's it. Any topic I can talk. We can talk about women or men or anything else, but not Black people. I'm not Black. I don't have the experience. It's hard for me to. And you're making some really extreme statements. It's hard for me because I can only sit here and nod my head. I can't really truly say if I agree or disagree. I can only give perspectives of other Black people. But like, yeah, I'm not Black, and like the Black experience is like very complicated in the United States. Even in one city, the Black experience might be really complicated from hood to hood or person to person or school to school. I can't speak on behalf of like all mixed race people or Black men or anything else. Yeah, like I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
It's okay. But I'm just saying it's hard for me to. I can't have an opinion. I can just say you're not along, and then some people might get mad.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question? Because outside of your abysmal judgment of character,
I don't have an abysmal. I'm gonna add another black man in here if you say that one more time. So okay, go ahead.
You can do that, but it'll be to his detriment.
Wait. There's one more guy. He's a debater guy, but he's like chill. And he loves black women. This guy, I got into an argument with him because he said that he only wanted to marry black women. And I think he just recently announced he's engaged to a black woman. Hopefully I'm not doxing him. It was on Facebook. Can I add this guy? What?
What's his name?
Fanatiq.
Fanatiq what?
I don't know. That's his online
name.
What's his channel? He's called Mr. Fanatiq.
Mr.
But he's like I argue with him sometimes for being too black, okay? And, you know, defending his community so much. So maybe, can I throw him in here? And then if...
Hold on.
Yeah.
So you have a problem with black men marrying black women? Or
no, that's not... No. Yes, our issues in the past was that, like, I felt like it was a little awkward to basically make the statement of, like, I'm only going to marry a person that is black. I'm only going to marry a black woman or whatever. I thought that was, like, a strange statement to make.
Why?
Because I think that for the United States of America, expressing like racial dating preferences is a little bit strange. I think that you should find the people that you most romantically identify with, or the people that you have like life experiences with. For some black people, that might mean only dating a black person. But when we start getting into like explicit statements of like, I only want to date somebody in my racial group, I just think it's a little weird. I think that, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
But do you think it's weird when someone says, I don't want to date in my racial group at all?
Yeah, like, I think that's equally weird. I think that's bad. You shouldn't do that either, yeah.
So that's bad, but wanting to replicate yourself is equally weird?
Yes. Because we're post-racial, okay? This is the United States. We don't see race here, okay? We just see wonderful people, like MLK said.
Slap yourself with that one.
Can I drag him Fanatiq? Can I do that?
I mean...
It's gonna be a good comment. He's respectful. He's not even gonna call you bitter or anything. I promise, okay?
Oh, you're so bitter. Listen, man.
Okay, I'm throwing him in. Okay, this is gonna be
no. But yeah. Steven, I'm gonna say if it goes left,
yeah,
I'm throwing in the towel because this is baseball. This is 3 strikes you're out. Actually, black men, it's not even 3 strikes. I don't engage them in that way. I'm doing it for you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the last one I'll ask you to do. Okay, this is the last one. I promise. Okay, and then after this. Fuck black men. I'll be right on board with you, okay? I'll put it over my Twitter.
No, stop it. I didn't say that. I never ever said that.
Okay. Here you go. If he calls you bitter, I'm grabbing my hood. I swear to God. All right, Fanatiq, you're in, okay?
Can we have like a parameters and sort of set a framework to build from? We don't have to personalize this conversation. It's not about me. It's not about him. We're talking about things and generalities in the black community. Is that that's fair? No.
Sure, yeah. Fanatiq, what did you want to talk about? You heard the conversation. You really wanted to jump in. Here you are. And he's not even talking. Oh, he muted his mic. Oh, he's probably hooking his microphone up. He's a musician too. He plays piano. He might have had his music set up. Now he's gotten his nice microphone. He's very polite.
Okay, you guys can hear me now?
I can hear you. What's up?
All right. So yeah, it just...
Oh my God.
So look, it's real simple. I don't think that it needs to get personal or anything like that. I think everybody's entitled to their own opinions, even if they're wrong. Candace Owens is entitled to her opinion. I think that they're wrong. I think she's intentionally bad faith, but that's a whole nother conversation. It just seemed like a lot of your talking points were kind of antagonistic towards black men in general. That's what it felt like. And maybe I could be wrong. But it seemed like that's what you were doing. Like you were generalizing a bunch of negative stereotypes towards black men, and kind of just, down on black men in general. So, and you were saying that people don't normally push back with statistics. What do you feel like are some of the major points that you have that are statistically valid that people don't push back on, or that people don't have a way of contending with?
Okay, sorry. What did you want me to call you?
Fanatiq, Lauren Fanatiq. It doesn't matter.
Sorry?
Fanatiq.
Okay. So before I answer your question, if it's okay, what do you think I'm saying that's a generalization?
Well, for one, earlier it seemed like you were negatively talking about black relationships. I think at one point you made the statement that black women out-earn black men, and then you clarified that it's because black men make up a larger population of the unemployed, therefore that black women would be out-earning them. which of course obviously assumes that unemployed black men don't make money, or people who aren't, I guess, employed in a way that's registered, because black men overwhelmingly make up gig work. I don't know if you knew this or not, but black men are super duper overrepresented in gig work. And a lot of times in employment statistics, those things aren't counted. So for example, when COVID happened, then black men, gig work was something that suffered the most. So it really greatly impacted black men because they're not tracked on unemployment. And because of the fact that they did gig work, for a lot of them, they couldn't even get unemployment. Like to hold them over like until everything opened back up. So I don't know that if there are any statistics anywhere that would say anything remotely close to the fact that black women on average out earn black men. Black women are statistically overwhelmingly overrepresented within poverty because obviously, as you know, 70% of black babies are born out of wedlock. And of course, the vast majority of those are taken care of by black women. And I don't know if you knew this, but having a baby out of wedlock is the single greatest indicator that will lead to poverty. So a black woman, go ahead. Yeah, I said a lot. Go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying. But with respect to employment, so there was an article that came out. It was about black men costing the government, I think it was like $50 billion annually because they're chronically employed. So, and they did account for the deficits, or they did account for, whatever issues or challenges the pandemic would attribute to. Sorry. So it still holds up. I'm not saying that black women make more money. I'm saying that black women are more employed than black men. That was my position.
Are you talking about employed, like specifically in the way that we track it, that would not account for gig work or part-time work or any of those other things? Is that what you're referring to?
I'm talking about employment, gainful employment.
Do you think gig work is not gainful employment?
I mean, it's kind of precarious.
It can be, or it can be particularly lucrative. Can it not?
But it's not really impervious. I mean, you can do the research. You can look it up and see if that particular market was accounted for.
I wouldn't have to do the research. I would tell you that it's not, because that's part of the reason why the unemployment metric isn't enough to capture it, right? Like this is like a known talking point for anybody who discusses these kinds of things, is that the unemployment it has some failings, right? Because a person can be considered employed such that they won't qualify for unemployed even if they're doing part-time work. Like the employment doesn't distinguish between those two. And again, it doesn't account for gig work and so on and so forth. So because of that, I already know that that's not normally, when you talk about employment, that's not counted.
Right, but even still, black men are creating a sort of economic deficit in they're creating problems economically speaking. So whether it's because they're doing gig work, whatever the reasons are. And actually, I remember in the report they did talk about that, and they did talk about why that is contributing to their unemployment, and they did talk about why that is contributing to the deficit that they're costing the government. So I think two things can be true at the same time.
So yeah, I guess I would need to see that, because again, if you're only,
you have Instagram, I can send you the report.
Yeah, I sent you a follow request. It's Mr. Fanatiq.
So I want to move on to your next point. When you're talking about mothers children being born out of wedlock. Yeah, black men are doing that at the highest rate. But
as are black women. Why are you phrasing that as a black men thing and not black people?
Because women don't initiate marriage, men do.
Right. But then women also have to be like participants in the sexual act that's conceiving the child, right?
Right. Women, obviously women are involved, but
so if a man
hold on. If a man knows he has no intentions of marrying a woman, why not leave your biological, your DNA in your own body? Why are you putting your sperm in her body?
Well, okay, so what
women
happens...
don't have any control of where your sperm goes. That's this is biology.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Well, what normally happens, I'm not going to meme. I was about to meme and just talk about why people have sex, but I'm not going to do that. Let me just go ahead and treat you respectfully. I'm sorry.
Right, but sex doesn't always equal baby.
Sex, it doesn't always, But everyone knows that most forms, for example, the pull-out method is not particularly effective. If you practice the pull-out method with a regular sex partner over a year, you are likely to get pregnant. Mistakes happen. Condoms break.
Whose responsibility is it?
It is the responsibility of both parties. You see, number one, Plan B exists. Number two, abortion is legal still in this country for the vast majority of states. And number three, women can choose not to engage in sexual encounters with people that they choose not to be marrying or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, this is something that is required by both parties. It seems ridiculous to me that a consensual sexual encounter, which requires the consent of two people, you would try to label it as if it's a problem of only the man, when the woman has just as much responsibility.
You're not listening to me. I'm labeling the fact that he doesn't marry the woman that he puts a child in. That is that is entirely on him. Obviously, he's engaging in the sexual act, in some cases consensually. Obviously, I'm not negating that. But what I'm saying is, it's his initiative. As a man, it is your job. Like, men are the purveyors. You initiate marriage. It's not up to women.
Absolutely. Do you think that it's probably realistic to say that there are plenty of times in which a person can become aware, like, of what the intention is of the individual that they're dating, such that they know whether marriage is even an option? Do you think that's a thing?
So this is the choose better argument, right?
Well, no, I'm not just saying choose better.
Hold on. I'm trying to.
Please don't strawman me. Don't strawman me. I'm not saying choose better. What I am saying is I'm saying it's a choice between both people.
Let me finish. I'm getting tired. This is the logical conclusion that we're gonna end up going to. I know where we're going.
You can make the assumption, but that's not my point. My point is not choose better, because I think it's, again, that's a decision based on both parties. And it seems like the logical conclusion of your argument is just that we should have more shotgun marriages, right? Basically, in the cases of accidental pregnancy.
That's not what I said. Actually,
but you're implying it. You're implying it. Hold on. Can I finish really quick? You're implying that in the cases in which a black man. Okay, so then let me just ask this, and maybe so that we don't have to get back and forth. If a black man accidentally is to impregnate a woman who he recognizes he is probably not compatible for a long-term relationship such as marriage, what do you think that man in that situation should do?
Okay, so can I speak?
Are you going to answer the question?
Okay, so I never said anything about shotgun weddings, and if you were even listening to me, actually, what I talked about was revitalizing the culture. And marriage is a part of culture. Mm-hmm. Family is a part of the family structure is absolutely a part of culture. Yeah. Who creates culture?
I think culture is developed by a whole bunch of things. Systems create. Wait. Hold on, no. You can't ask me a question, ma'am. I'm sorry. Is it unfair? Is it unfair of you to ask me a question and then not allow me to answer it? Do you actually want a conversation? Because you sounded like earlier you were upset at the amount of people that were talking to you and not being in good faith and not responding. And now you're being the bad faith actor. You're cutting me off and not allowing me to respond. And I get it. Maybe you're frustrated, and it's unfair because I'm probably like the sixth person you've talked to or whoever, and so I can see you being frustrated. But I just want to call to your attention, because I do the same thing sometimes too when I get in my emotions. Right now, you're getting really frustrated, and this isn't really a conducive conversation.
Okay, so let me hit the reset button. I apologize. Okay. Right.
Thank you. Good job. I'm going to do the same.
Okay, so moving on.
So let's go back to the point then, because let's try to reset. Okay. And so the question is, obviously I get culture is developed by a bunch of things. Again, systems can create culture. Like a lot of the black culture is developed or derived from like survival within poverty. For example, like our high consumption of pork, right? Because that was the type of meat that we had access to. And so we made a bunch of culinary dishes around that. Or like blues music was literally music that was decrying the systemic oppression and things and the conditions of living that people were in. So it was mournful, sad music, right? And that's what it would make sense of why that would be developed and so on and so forth. So culture can be derived or developed by systems, environment, all of those things, right? Lineage.
Fanatiq, my understanding, based on like anthropology, sociology, culture is engineered and created largely by men. In all, so you have men in different cultures, different communities, different ethnic groups, different races, but men largely
create and engineer the culture, and women carry the culture on.
I don't know if I fully agree with, because women have sometimes independent cultures that are completely different than men's, right? And so I don't know, that's a hard thing to say, but so hold on, just to make sure, I want you to know that I agree with you, because it seemed like the point that you were getting at, right, is that you were talking about the need for more marriages within the Black community and things like that, which I am totally on board with. I'm pretty conservative socially, so I absolutely understand the need for marriage. I just recently got engaged myself. I plan to have my children only in wedlock. I've had a prescription to Plan B for quite some time, specifically to prevent having children out of wedlock. So I think, like, I'm kidding about the prescription part, but I'm saying, like, I get the idea and the need for marriages, but I think, again, to try to put that onus specifically on Black men, I think is a little bit misguided. I think that both parties do hold some responsibility. My mother always made the statement, why buy the cow when the milk is free? So if you're able to get your sexual release from people that you don't have to marry, when women aren't safeguarding, because women are the safeguarders of sex, right? Because men are always obviously have higher sex drives than men. I mean, than women at younger ages and things like that. It's up to the women to safeguard these things, right? And if they're not safeguarding it, then I think that that's a problem. But I also think that it's a problem of men to be wanting to wantonly have sex with all types of women that they don't plan to have, like, you know, any serious relationships with, and taking these risks. So I think, again, it's just on both parties. It just seems unfair to me that you're willing to try to label it as exclusively something that's the responsibility of men.
Well, I think that initiating marriage, and you can't change my mind, I'm sorry, Mr. Fanatiq. The initiation of marriage is a decision unilaterally made by men. That is my belief system. I do believe that.
Can I ask a quick question, just because as you guys talk about that? So, because he brought this up and then you brought this up, you keep saying that marriage is initiated by men, but it seems like he's bringing up the point that, like, it takes two to tango. Like, is there not some, if there's a Black woman who is single and has a child, is there not some responsibility for the Black woman to not have had sex with the Black man that was going to abandon her? Like, is that not also?
So this is the problem that I have with this argument. A lot of Black men will come up here and say, oh, well, Black women need to be held accountable. So when a Black woman stays after she's deserted by that Black man, when she stays and she raises her child on her own, that is her taking accountability. Because I think that people sometimes forget that women have the option to leave as well. Women also have that option to desert their child as well. But to the extent that she stays and she raises her child, that is her holding herself accountable. That's what accountability looks like.
Somewhat, but so yes, women do have the option to, but there's obviously like a complete different biological connection that develops when a woman is pregnant and develops a baby for 10 months inside of her stomach, right? Like, or for 40 weeks.
That's not my point. My point is that when she,
no, that's my point. No. Hold on. Wait, you're cutting me off. I feel like
by raising her child.
Hey, but you're cutting me off. What I'm saying is that, yes, while I do understand that both of them have responsibility, I don't think the situation is the same because of the biological connection that develops specifically from the gestation period of a woman. So those two things are different. However, this does not remove any sort of responsibility from men to take care of their children. Fortunately, what I'm finding from studies is that Black men actually are very heavily involved within their children's lives. There are stigmas. Hold on. There are stigmas associated with specifically claiming that Black men don't raise their children, but those statistics typically rely on marriage, right, as the thing, or even cohabiting. You can still raise your child and be very much involved in your child's life though not cohabiting. I happen to have a sibling who raised his children. Literally, they did 1 week with their mom, 1 week with the dad, and they hadn't lived together. They had two separate households, 50-50 custody. That wouldn't be, like, according to those statistics, they would say that those were single mom raised children, though my brother was 50% in their lives. So, like, those stats are somewhat erroneous.
So I'm going to disagree with you there, because I know you're talking about the study where Black men are the most involved fathers. First of all, that study was self-reported. Second of all, it said to the fathers that are involved. So the men that are involved in their children's lives, they're involved more than, I think it was other groups of men. That's also a misrepresentation, because that doesn't mean that all Black men who have kids are the most involved fathers. That's not what that means.
I didn't claim that, and neither did that study. I didn't misinterpret that study in that way. That wasn't my point.
Let me finish. I'm saying that
that's a straw man. No one said that here.
No, but you just said that Black men are the best fathers, and right. But
I didn't say that Black men are the best fathers. What I did say,
you said that they're the most involved.
No, Well, that there are studies that have said that, right? That are that black men.
So
hold
if
on.
you say that alone, again.
Well, I did expound on it a little bit more than that, and I'm sorry. Then let me clear it up, just to be sure. The studies that talk about single parents and about fathers not being in their homes oftentimes specifically require either marriage or cohabitation in order to determine that a father is involved in their children's lives. But that we obviously recognize that there are plenty of situations in which men are not cohabiting with the mother of their children, yet are still very much involved with their life. Can you find me any study that says that black men regularly abandon their children at such extreme rates and that don't have any relationship with their children, like that's the norm? Because I don't think that that's the case.
Okay, so you said that you sent me a request on Instagram.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to send you the Brookings Institute study. I'm going to send you the study about black men costing the government $50 billion a year.
I appreciate both of those. Does it? So, and here's the thing, really quickly, why do you think culturally black men are significantly less likely to get married and black women are significantly less likely to get married than their white counterparts or Asian counterparts or so on and so forth? Why do you think that is?
Okay, so again, even when we're talking about cohabitation, marriage, what the studies say, even from a psychological perspective, the best, if you want your children to have the best outcomes, the best socioeconomic outcomes, the best emotional, mental, psychological outcomes, the best academic outcomes, marriage is the vehicle. That's where it gets you to that outcome.
I totally agree with you, and that's why I refuse to have kids outside of wedlock. But the question I'm asking you, let me finish. Jesus,
I'm
sorry. You're just doing a lot of circumlocution before you get there. But go ahead.
Wait, hello?
Okay, is he gonna stop?
Yeah, I think he stopped. Go ahead.
Okay, so we know that every statistical metric, by every metric, every standard, that is how you give black children the best outcomes. We can agree it's marriage, right?
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Okay.
The question I'm asking was
hold on. I'm setting something up.
Okay.
I understand. I didn't forget your question. I have it in the back of my mind. Don't worry. You asked me about why black men are not marrying black women, and that's what you asked me, right?
And why black women are significantly the least likely person to get married. What do you think that is? Yeah. But I'll listen. Go ahead. You take as long as you need to get there. I'm just going to listen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like you're.
I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
No, he really does talk like that. He's not being passive aggressive. He sounds like that sometimes. I swear to God, I would tell you if he was.
No, I know exactly what he's being and what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
So the problem that I have with the assertions that you're making is you're saying, okay, well, black men are not marrying these women, and maybe it's because they're not marriage material.
No. Well, I didn't even make a reason why. I was asking you. Why do you think that is?
I think because culturally speaking, black men do not value marriage. Black men do not value fatherhood. They don't value community. That's what I think. Historically and statistically speaking.
That's crazy.
Why is that?
No. Yeah, because the actual reason, oh gosh, it's economics. Because the responsibility.
Marriage is more.
Listen. Hey, wait. Wait. You're saying, "Oh my God," as if I didn't sit there and patiently let you finish, and now I'm just speaking a few words, and you're getting upset. What's happening? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
I'm not your child. Do you understand?
I'm not trying to treat you like my child. I'm just pointing out to you the indignant. You're being indignant. No. You're being indignant about me asking to finish my sentence, as if you haven't, I didn't let you finish and then try to go myself.
Condescension. You don't need it.
It's not about me trying to be condescending. I'm trying to.
It is. That's what you're doing.
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm coming off condescending. What's happening here is I'm getting frustrated because I want to talk and respond, and it feels like if I ever interject on you, you get really upset, and now every time I talk, you're doing the same interjection. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to be condescending, and I'm just trying to say, you know what? Rather than get frustrated because I would yell, I'm just going to go ahead and just chill and try to be whatever.
You said economics. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yes, this is difficult. I'm sorry. I'm trying to contain myself and it's difficult, whatever. But anyway, yeah, economics, like a lot of times whenever you start talking about raising a family, obviously in culture and society, the onus of that responsibility falls on the man's shoulder. And obviously, if you're unemployed, as you were talking about earlier, or even if you're doing gig work that is inadequate to sustain a family, then it makes you significantly less likely to want to get married, right? And so, already black women out-earn black men when it comes to college degrees. And so what we're finding is that black women who earn college degrees are significantly less likely to get significantly less likely to get married than their non-degree having counterparts, right? And it's because of the fact that once women begin to have a certain level of financial of a certain level of earning, then it makes them then men feel like they should be the breadwinners and they want to out earn their women and they want to be the head of their household. And a lot of that times the head of the household is specifically the highest earner. So then that discourages black men in some of those situations. But the primary reason I don't think is because of the lack of valuing of marriage. I think it's literally because of economics.
Okay, so I talked about this earlier. So black men out of any group, and again, I'm going to send you all of these studies, and I really hope some of them are long, and I really hope that you read them and you go through them. The single group that benefits from marriage the most is black men. Out of all groups of men, it is black men who benefit from getting married economically. The black men who reach the middle class do so by way of marriage, by way of combining incomes with their wife. So the idea that economics is the problem as to why black men are not getting married is counterintuitive and that doesn't really make sense. If you're saying, oh, black men don't want to get married because of their egos, because they can't be breadwinners, then again, I have to say, okay, well, then you just need to be better men. Then you just need to go get your education so that you can compete and so that you can be breadwinners. Like what is stopping them from getting their education and being what they perceive as breadwinners? Who's stopping them?
Well, I mean, oh goodness, we can go all through the, what do they call it? The school to prison pipeline and all of those other things. But hold on. We don't have to. We don't have to. Hold on. But we don't have to.
No, you can.
No. I don't want to. Trust me, I don't need your permission. No, I don't want to, because what I would say in response was, I think that you're wrong. I don't think that black men reach the middle class because of marriage. I think that hold on, ma'am. Look, now you're asking me not to be condescending, but I feel like every time I point out to you when you're doing this bad behavior, you call it condescending. Let me finish the point that I'm making. I barely said a few words. Yes, sure. It's bad behavior. It's bad. It's not good to be interrupting this entire time and getting indignant every time you feel interrupted.
Extreme decorum, okay? Fine. That's cool. But
you said what?
For you to come up here and say, oh, I don't think that black men, based on what? I'm telling you that I've seen the data.
No. I'm sorry. The data, what I was going to say, if you would have let me finish, was that I don't know that you can distinguish between these 2 points. One is black men are reaching the middle class because of marriage, and the other one is that middle class black men are more likely to get married. Those two statements are not the same. Are you telling me you have I got you, and you're saying that you have a study that says the former?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, can you show me that?
Yes, I can. I promise you. Listen, I'm not saying these things because because it sounds good or because I'm trying to win this argument, this debate. I don't really care. I've done the research. I've seen the numbers. Black men get. So there is a distinction. They get to the middle class when they're married, and to the extent
is the same true of black women.
Hold on. To the extent that they stay married, they they manage to stay in the middle class. If they get divorced and they don't remarry, they drop out of the middle class and they're back and they're in the lower class.
Is the same true for black women?
Can I just poke real quick on that data argument? So I don't know what study in particular that you're looking at, but my understanding is that when it comes to marriage, economic stability is usually a precursor to marriage, not a symptom or not like a thing that marriage causes. So that it's
That's what I said.
Yeah, so that like, so for instance, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if we're referring to the same study, but I know there was one that I remember looking at, like it's at least 10 years old. I'm pretty sure it's at least 5 or 10 years old, but basically it looks at like the income of single black men versus single black women versus like married black families. And the men in married black families always had higher income. And it might be that you would take from that study, oh look, when black men get married, they make more money. But what's more likely, that like a drug dealing black guy gets married and starts to make a ton of money, or there's a black man that's like educated, graduated school, is already doing well, and then gets married, right? I think that that's the idea, is that like middle class black men didn't become middle class because they got married. It's rather their like situation in life was already pretty well. Marriage isn't elevating like poor or criminal black men out of like.
No. Okay, so let me be clear.
Yeah.
It is the combined income. It is not the, and I understand that maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but it is the combined income of the two that puts them in the middle, that puts black men in the middle class.
Okay. I was just providing that perspective.
I'm gonna send it to I can send it to you, Steven, and you can look at it, right?
Yeah, I can look at all sorts of things. Yeah.
Okay, no, but I'm saying you can look at it and then you can sort of like disseminate and we can go over it.
Sure.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna send it to you. But Fanatiq, what were you saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was really basically saying the same thing that Steven was saying, right? Like, it basically it seems to me like one, obviously marriage like has all sorts of benefits, like as a whole, for sure, right? Like, and so I'm not saying that marriage can't also be part of the vehicle that leads towards economic progress. I don't disagree with your statement there at all. Like, I totally agree with you. However, it does seem like that economic, right? Like being economically deprived makes you significantly less likely to get married. In fact, if you were to ask most black men, do they value marriage? Do they hope to be married? I think the answer is yes. I think, but if you were, and same with black women. But the problem is, if you don't feel economically like prepared to take care of a family, then it discourages you from getting married.
But who is it incumbent upon to become economically mobile?
I think it's specifically, I would agree with you that it's probably more responsible on men, since men are supposed to be the heads of households in most relationships.
If you value marriage and you understand that you need to be in a particular economic position in order to get married, why aren't they doing it? Like, why?
Oh, sure. So, I mean, Lord, I mean, Stacey Abrams just recently, put on her page about the black man's agenda. I just put out a video about the black male agenda and what it's been. And it's been the same exact thing for about 60 years. And yeah, we probably need better economic opportunity. And most of the time, economic opportunity comes in the form of jobs. Unfortunately, we're finding study after study after study that demonstrates that literally simply having a black name makes you less likely to get hired. And even if you don't have a black name, surviving the interview process is really, really difficult to get hired as a black man as well. In fact, studies have demonstrated recently that that white felons have better job acquisition than black males, right? They've done studies to prove this. So it seems like, yes, the job is specifically for black men to try to find ways of becoming financially stable such that they are able to take care of their families. That is a responsibility specifically of black men. And I think there are plenty of societal inhibitors that are getting in the way of that.
Okay. So these societal inhibitors, do you think that they're going to go away anytime soon?
Maybe not necessarily.
Okay, hold on.
Sure.
So these societal impediments, let's call them.
Mm-hmm.
This is my issue. If black men take umbrage with what they feel is a white supremacist system, like, do you really expect whitey to help you mobile? Like, why aren't black men doing something about their ability to get jobs, to get educated? Like, I don't understand why you're relying on another group of men
Are you talking about at the societal level, or are you talking about at the individual level? Which of these two are you talking about?
At the societal level. Why?
Okay.
Why you have black men in positions of power? You have black extremely affluent and wealthy black men. Why? Like I don't understand why. Like why?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. So first off, I mean, what you can do, I mean, obviously, I think that the responsibility is on all individuals to like try to their best to make the decisions for themselves. Like we make decisions at an individual level, not at a systemic level.
Right, but
right?
we know that they're not making the right decisions. We know that.
I know.
They're not.
I know. If you'd let me finish, what I was going to say was that so it is incumbent on the individuals, but I would say that when you start talking more broadly at societal levels, then you start looking at the factors that are likely to cause what do you call them? Normative outcomes, right? And so then if you start saying, hey, here are impediments after impediments after impediments, and then you're trying to say there's a system, I mean, why aren't black people like succeeding when you have impediment after impediment after impediment, then it seems like, yeah, I don't know, it feels like you're almost trying your best to skirt past all of the systemic barriers and just trying to say, no, take the responsibility to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what it feels like. Am I wrong?
You really think that black men are trying to like they're just trying and trying and trying to transcend their plight? You don't think that black men are actively perpetuating to their own degeneracy, to their own plight? You don't think that black men are negatively impacting themselves and the community? Are you serious?
I would say that black men are probably negatively impacting themselves and the community, but I would say a lot of that is from the cultural environments that they have been forced into by plenty of plans by the government. Hold on. And I know you're saying, "Oh my gosh," as if I've talked more than you, and it's almost hold on, wait a minute, you like this thing is happening again. You cannot.
No,
not
you, but it's this argument. It's this.
Well, okay, look, I know, but I'm the one making the argument. So it's impossible for me not to take it personally when you decide to interrupt me when I'm making the argument that I obviously believe is cogent. Even if you disagree, let me finish it in the same way that I'm letting you disagree, letting you make your points that I disagree with. That's fair. Okay, so I don't even remember the point I was making now. I'm lost. I'm sorry. Go ahead, say what you were going to say, and then maybe it'll come back.
I think that black men are not only engaging in the system negatively, in the system that they claim is oppressing them, they are perpetuating. They're perpetuating that oppression. So
thank you. Sam Cedar-Simp said it. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Thank you.
So you're saying that they were forced into these areas, and they're sort of operating based on this degenerate culture. Why aren't they changing the cultures as leaders in the community, supposed leaders in the community, supposed builders in the community? Wouldn't it behoove them to revitalize the culture, to change the culture, to change these communities and these hoods and these ghettos? Like, whose job is it? It's not anyone else's job.
Well, it's really crazy. It's really crazy that you would say that, because when white people went through all of the problems that they've gone through, the government has gone, wait, hold on. Let me finish my point. Please don't. I know. Oh my God. It's crazy that someone else has another point that disagrees with me. Let me finish it and then we'll get to a point. This is the third time you've done that. Chill. So it's crazy to me, because what we recognize is typically when people are dealing with not systemic injustice, when people are in deprived states, the government has gone out of its way time after time to pick those people up. For example, when there's crazy housing crises that are leading to large scale unemployment and things like that, such as the Great Depression, what did they do? There was a great, the New Deal by FDR, where they decided, hey, we're going to create better social programs. We're going to create specific jobs specifically for these people. We're going to go ahead and give them better loans. We're going to create training programs to help them get jobs. They do all of these things. We're going to give them better loans for their housing. We're going to give them specific investments into their businesses and give them tax breaks and tax relief. All of these things that they do specifically to help these people so that they don't become also a ghetto. So it seems like, I would imagine, and I'm pretty sure the government is aware of this, that most of the time people are not capable of pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Thank you, Sam, for reminding me of that, which is what it seems like you're trying to put the onus on Black people to do. Now, what I can say is, again, at the individual level, Yes, my mother did a lot. My mother was in abject poverty when the year after I was born. We were on welfare. She eventually went back to school, got a master's degree, now is in the upper middle class, has owned several homes in her own private practice. She did all of these things despite the poverty. But I obviously, in my own personal opinion, I believe that God had a big hand in that. But the fact of the matter was, her tenacity helped her really push past that. I know most people don't have that tenacity. So then it's crazy to me, knowing that most people don't have that tenacity, that you expect Black people to do that when white people wouldn't do it in the same situation.
Can I ask
wait, really quick, last point. Economic mobility is just something that is really, really difficult in this country for white people and Black people alike. And the things that you're generalizing about Black people are specifically poverty-stricken Black people, because middle-class Black people do not have the same exact issues. These are two different things.
Can I just toss a little grenade and then you guys can talk around it? I'm so sorry. I'm curious.
Go ahead.
Sorry, hold on.
Wait, hold on. I got it.
Hold on. Listen. The idea that
I just want to throw in a little thing and then it's supporting your point. I'm just curious. I just want to hear Fanatiq and you guys talk about this, okay? So it's been said by some people, I think, Fanatiq, that, and I'm curious, you can provide me an example and shut it down, okay? Because this lady's turning me into a Nazi, okay? No, okay, but I'm just, this is just a talking point, okay?
Oh my God.
Okay. I think that one of the unique issues that surrounds the Black community, when you talk about how like the US government sees that like people can't lift themselves out of poverty, people can't do it. I think the issue is that you have had groups of people come to the United States, and it seems like they did do that. That Italians came to the United States, Irishmen came to the United States, and when these people got here, they were poor, they were disenfranchised, and oftentimes they were discriminated against by the communities that they came to try to integrate into. A lot of people didn't like Italians and Irish people when they got to New York. A lot of people put up signs discriminating against them, but these people managed to like etch out communities, etch out their own ghettos, they created their own economic opportunities, and they eventually like worked their way through things. Early Chinese people, Asian Americans that came to the United States that were building railroads also had cultures that enabled them to kind of like grow out of things. That when you talk about like the like FDR's programs, all these things, these weren't programs that were made to uplift specific like white communities. They might have been discriminatory, but it wasn't like they were saying, here is a fucked ethnic group, we need to help them. It seems like a lot of the ethnic groups in the United States have been able to kind of like
themselves.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, just as a little question, like it seems like for the Black community, this has been a particular challenge, and there weren't like programs made for the Irish to succeed, for Italians to succeed, or even for Hispanic people to succeed. Well, yeah, how does you?
Hold on,
no, Destiny, don't.
Hold on.
You're gonna dog.
Wait, I did cut her off. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Oh
so
yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then, yeah, okay.
So first of all, Black men have had access to not only welfare but government social programming as well. So when you come up here and you say other minorities or marginalized groups of people have come here and they've been given government social support, so have Black men. As a matter of fact, I refer to the Moynihan report. Black men had access to welfare before even Black women did. They were one of the first groups to have access to welfare because they were crippling the economy at that time. So we need to stop acting like Black men have never had. They have had help. They don't help themselves.
Okay, so let me respond to Destiny, and then I'll respond to the thing that you just said. Okay, so number one, when you start talking about like the economic mobility of people like the Irish and things like that, they had the complexion for the protection. The average Irish immigration into this country was from 1820 until 1930. The New Deal was not expressly excluded from Irishmen. When the country was at its worst, Irishmen, being white, had access to all of the benefits and all of the aim that was guided at helping them. They were always white, so they didn't encounter the same discrimination. If you watch the other video that I did about the Black and brown myth, Hispanic people have largely, until the Civil Rights Act actually passed, they were considered white as well and still are. So they were not segregated in the same way that Black people were. Hispanic people were allowed to go to education to the same schools as their white counterparts, as were Asians. Black people were the only ones who were deprived of education in that way. Black people were the ones who were expressly forbidden from being able to testify in court. The Jim Crow was aimed specifically at Black men, not people of color. People of color and colored people wasn't a phrase until 1968. So all of this time, the civil rights movement has already happened. We've already passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We've already passed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, the Fair Housing Act. So all of these things have happened, and these are after after the New Deal has already provided homes, and the GI Bill has made up 20% of all new homes, and which has been largely excluded to Black men. And you have obviously the FHA and the HOLC and all of these different programs that are specific, and job training programs that were specifically aimed at white people. So when you ask how did the Irish people achieve their economic mobility, the government helped them. But the government has never lent its hand in the exact same way. You'll give us welfare. Black people have had access to welfare. Welfare is not the same as the GI Bill as it used to be. It's definitely, they've never done the same low to zero interest loans that they did back in that point. They gave white people, specifically when it came to housing, they gave white people single-family units at which they could live in near industrial centers that were expressly owned, exclusively white communities, and then left the cities with nothing. And Black people were largely relegated to the cities because of this, and that's why the culture of poverty has been somewhat restricted to that area in the way that it has. And the government has never rectified that, which is the reason why I'm always asking for reparations, and that's why you see the different mobility between the two.
Hold on. Why do you think it's I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to be like cold-hearted or anything, but why do you think if a group of men or people are trying to maintain their status quo, their power structure, why do you think that they would give you a handout? Why? Like, I don't even understand why that's even a talking point. Like, oh, well, they help the white people, they should help us. Why? You're men. Okay,
I'm sorry. So now you're moving the conversation. You're not moving.
I'm asking you a question.
I know you're. I know, and I heard your question, and I'm responding. So the original point that you were asking, the first question was, why aren't Black people pulling themselves up? And my response to that
I said
was,
Black men.
Black men, right? I got you. Fine. Even though obviously Black women are significantly the highest group in poverty as well. Now,
because of Black men.
Listen, sure. Listen, I don't care about your blaming. I'm going to finish my point. Hold on. Let me finish my point. So I'm going to finish my point. So again, now, the first question you asked me was originally, why aren't Black men pulling themselves up by their bootstraps? Now you're asking me, do you think that it's likely or reasonable to expect white people who have been in power and have largely contributed to the space that Black men are, do you expect them to give the handouts that to give the same aid? Hold on. I'm going to finish. Let me finish responding. You asked the question.
I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm asking you.
Sure.
I'm asking you this question because Steven just gave you a whole bunch of examples of
and I responded to his pretty adequately.
Of other oppressed minority groups.
They weren't oppressed in the same way, as I explained to you. Asian people were white. Chinese people were white. Hispanic people are white. So if you're talking about oppression, they didn't experience the same oppression. So making that comparison doesn't make sense. When education is one of the most significant tools for economic mobility. Education was specifically and exclusively denied to Black people. Chinese people and Asian people and Hispanic people were not excluded. Brown versus Board of Education only applied to Black people. Asians and Hispanics were already allowed in those schools. So when you start talking about the educational deprivation or the economic deprivation or the transportation deprivation or the government service programs deprivation, all of those were exclusively aimed at Black people. That's the difference.
Okay, so Mr. Fanatiq, this is what I have to say about the Board of Brown versus the Board of Education. Did you not just complain about the school to prison pipeline? And who advocated? Who brought that to the Supreme Court? Who was that?
What, the Brown versus Board of Education?
Yeah.
Black people.
No.
Specifically the NAACP.
It was Black men. So you wanted to integrate into a society that did not want you.
I'm sorry. Wait. Did you think that there were no Black women in the NAACP? Is that what you were saying?
Let me finish. Now you're complaining about the way that education system is treating you and the outcomes that the children are having. But this is what you advocated for. This is what you fought for. And you're surprised when a group of people in a power structure who literally said, don't run into that burning house. We don't want you here. But you pushed and you advocated and you fought to integrate into their system, into their pedagogy, and into their society. Are you serious?
Okay, so it sounds to me.
And now you're crying that they're not helping you, and as men, you're not helping yourselves.
it sounds to me like you're okay. So obviously, when you're living in a society is going to be developed by a bunch of systems, right? Like the educational system, right? We obviously recognize that education is the greatest tool, one of, if one of the three greatest tools for economic mobility. But when that education is deprived from Black people, then they obviously recognize that they need to be able to get access to the same thing that white people have. Because at the time, they were under the rule of Plessy versus Ferguson, which said separate but equal. But as you know, as I'm sure everyone else knows, it wasn't equal. The schools in Black communities were like largely underfunded, and they still are. The school, all of the things that were supposed to be separate but equal were not the same. The universities in the Black universities were horrendously underfunded. They didn't have the same, they just didn't have the same access to education as white people did. And the idea that they were going to the idea that you were going to try to force them, or that the same way that you're asking me this question now, the idea that you were going to force them to give the adequate funding such that they would be able to give, that these schools would be equal, was ridiculous. As opposed to that, the concept was, if we can find a way of integrating into these schools, we'll have access to the same opportunities. Fortunately, it worked. I happened to go to a school that was exclusively white. I was like the only. I was the only Black person in the school that I went to. I mean, in almost all of my classes, it'd be one of two or one of one in all of my elementary school classes. Hold on. If you can let me finish. Okay, I got you. I got you. And even though I was the only, it's crazy to me how you keep on interrupting this way. It's absolutely absurd to me. And then you get actually indignant every time I interrupt you. And half the time when I'm not even interrupting. Anyway, it's crazy to me because using that example, it seemed like it had a profound effect such that I was able to outscore 95% of my state when it came to state testing in high school. That's after going to this white school. Had I probably gone to one of those deprived schools where I didn't have access to that education, I probably would have been a little bit different. So I don't know. It seems to me like obviously once Black people started being able to get access to those universities, that it does seem to change their changes their earnings. It's crazy to me that you can keep citing the fact that Black women are out earning men in degrees and saying that education is a necessary tool while simultaneously decrying the methods that we use to get that integration and saying that we shouldn't have done it. It's crazy.
So this is the problem that I have, because you just bolstered my argument, probably inadvertently. But you said that you were the only, in all of these academic spaces, you were the only Black man, right?
One of two, yeah.
Hold on. Oh, right, that's fine. And I can, and even though I said we're not going to personalize this, okay, I'll bite.
Sorry about that.
And there were no Black men in my program as well. Okay, so if you don't want to look at the statistics because you feel like, oh, they don't account for this or that. Okay, so observationally, anecdotally, empirically speaking, we can say that Black men are not getting educated. So they're not really taking advantage of the fact that they advocated for integration, and they advocated and fought the Supreme Court for access to the same pedagogy or academic institutions as white people. So that's number one, because they're not getting educated. They're not even getting their high school education, for that matter.
Does it have to do with economics at all?
No, let me finish. That's number one. Number two, you're talking about, so Black men didn't have access to, I think you said it was, oh fuck, what did you say? Black men didn't have access to the same, you said like social programs, or you said that these schools were in ghettos. These schools were like, basically they were deprived. Even when they did have access to education, they were still deprived. That's what you said, right?
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I was specifically saying that it was a necessary thing. The integration was necessary in order for them to have economic mobility. And furthermore, I want to point out to you, when you keep making these statements like, oh, yeah, Black men aren't getting educated and they're not finishing high school, you're specifically talking about a specific class of Black people.
Oh my God.
Typically,
Okay,
no. Every time I speak, you interrupt. You literally
you gotta let him finish.
Let me
Thank you. Literally, no.
Let me finish.
You have to let Fanatiq finish. You didn't even respond to you yet.
Let me finish.
My goodness. Listen, I'll just say this. It's really quick. I'm just going to say that if you're going to like try to use poverty-stricken Black people and apply that to Black people generally, it's erroneous because again, middle class and upper class Black people have significantly higher graduation rates than their poverty-stricken counterparts. So it seems like the problem is economic.
Okay. Everybody knows that the problem is economic. Everybody knows, but again, you pointed to the. I want everybody to understand something. You pointed to the fact that Black women, single mothers, are the highest rates of poverty. So if we like, this is what I'm saying. You can't have a single mother without an absentee father. That's how that works. So if you know that that's what's creating the poverty in the Black community, again, Black men are not being held accountable. Their feet are not being held to the fire. They're pumping and dumping. They're doing whatever the hell they want. They're making communities dangerous. They're killing each other. They're toe tagging each other. They're toe tagging women and children. They're and they're not getting their education at the same rate that other groups are, or Black women for that matter, whether they're middle class, upper class. None of that matters. I'm saying overall, Black men are not getting educated to the same degree that Black women are getting educated at all. It's like 2 to 1. It might be 3 to 1 at this point. The last time I looked, it was like a few months ago, or it could have been last year. But it's 2 to 1. So again.
Yeah, no, you're actually just wrong here.
You're complaining about this. You're complaining about education. You're complaining about the school to prison pipeline. Why aren't Black men doing anything to create a more an academic environment where Black boys can thrive? Because here's what we do know. Hold on, wait a minute. Here's what we do know, and I think that I sent Stephen the study. We there were professors out of Stanford University, and they did a study where they took black boys and adolescents, and they put them in comparable situations to white men and white boys. So you had one Black family, one white family, and they were in the same socioeconomic bracket, in the same socioeconomic at the same socioeconomic income level. Sorry, and in some cases, actually, the Black families earned more than their white counterparts. What that study found was that Black men, even when they come from two-parent households, even when they come from economically advantaged households, they are more likely to not graduate high school. They're more likely than their white counterpart. They're more likely to not seek higher education, not get degrees, not go to college, not go to university. And you know what's even more interesting? They're more likely to actually fall into poverty. So what you saw with the white family, or with white boys, white young men, they graduated high school. They went on to get their degrees or their masters, their undergrads, whatever it was, and they were able to either maintain that same socioeconomic status or income level, or they were able to surpass it. They did the same thing with Black girls and white girls, and Black girls were also able to compete with white women. Black women would graduate high school, they would go on to get their degrees and their masters, and they were able to stay in that same socioeconomic class.
So you're going to rant on this point for 10 minutes? What's going on?
The problem is Black men. You can't perform.
Hear you.
It doesn't matter if you come from it doesn't matter if you have your mom and your dad. It doesn't matter if you have money. You're not graduating high school, so once
again, you're lying. You're talking about Black men. Well, let me finish. No. You're not gonna rant that. You're not gonna. Hold on. You're not gonna rant that long and not let me respond. So I'm gonna go ahead and respond now. Right? Okay. So you made a statement first, and you were wrong. You were lying. You said that Black men aren't graduating. You said that Black men aren't graduating high school. So let me expose your lies to you really quick. So it seems like the graduation rate in 2022 for African Americans in Hawaii is 95.83%, Alaska 94.84%, and it goes all the way down until it starts getting into the southern states where it hits 83%. 83.64, starting with Arkansas, right? And then you have Arkansas, Wisconsin, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, Minnesota, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Dakota. All of the southern states are where the graduation rates start falling. And even in those states, the graduation rate is still at its absolute lowest, 78.92%, close to 80% if we're going to round, right? So still, it seems like the vast majority of Black men are actually graduating high school. You were just lying. And of course, now they give the reasons for this as opposed to just giving you a stat with no thing. And the first thing it says in the link that I actually provided for you in the Discord, the factors impacting graduation rate for African Americans are consistent across all states. Poverty is the leading factor impacting graduation rates among Black at both the high school and college level. It is estimated that approximately 32% of Black students live below the poverty line and 10% of Caucasians live below the poverty line. So once again, it seems like this problem is economics. And if you want to start, if you want to trace what caused the economic deprivation of Black men, it has always and consistently been a lack of jobs and a lack of economic opportunity caused by systemic deprivation and systemic oppression. If you remember, the March on Washington was called a March on Washington for jobs. I know, no. You're not going to, oh my God, me and get indignant. You're not going to do that after you ranted for 20 freaking minutes and I sat there silent.
You've been ranting.
Again, okay, sure. I bet you believe that, but I'm going to go ahead and finish. The person who claimed, you were the person who claimed that literally that everybody kept getting indignant and that you couldn't have good conversations and you've been a bad actor from the very beginning. Chill all that out. So anyway, I got you and I have a right to be because you keep getting indignant while talking over me and being rude. So do you need another break to calm down? The other point. Okay, I will. Thank you for your permission. I'll go ahead and do so.
Thank you.
So the point has always been the point that the March on Washington, that we obviously all know that led to the Civil Rights Acts, that was called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, because Black men were systemically being excluded from jobs and other economic opportunities. House buying is literally the largest thing that contributes to wealth in this country. And it seemed like in most of these cases that was being prevented at a systemic level. It's still happening, right? So obviously we just had recent settlements in the government for reverse redlining, where the largest banks in our country have been sued because of the fact that they have been economically, specifically targeting Black people with these mud loans and things like that, which was one of the largest things that wiped out Black wealth in recent history. So we have those things. We still have bad ability to get jobs. Even Black people with degrees still have a hard time getting a job and still earn less than their white counterparts with the same degrees, even if we control for all of these other factors. So it seems to me like you're saying, yes, economics is the problem. I'm glad that we finally got on the same page there, but it seems like you're willing to deny all of the things that led to this problem of economics. And so I don't know how we even move forward from that.
So this is my thing about this is the problem that I have. If you take, I said it before, if you take umbrage with the system, you address the system. If the system is creating social, economic, or political inequities, you take umbrage with the system. Black women have been doing that for millennia. Black women they're being discriminated in the workplace because they can't wear their natural hair. And now, because they've been advocating on behalf of themselves, they're getting legislation passed. You have to directly go to the system, and you have to, that's the only way you're going to get change. You're not going to get change by saying, you're not helping us, you're not giving us what we need. They're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I totally agree that you have to go to the system and start looking at the system and finding out how that is impacting you. And fortunately, I think that's what we're starting to do now. We're starting to recognize. I think there's a pretty large wave recognizing that Democrats have largely been rejecting rejecting the Black agenda, and we're seeing that they're not actually having our interest at heart. Obviously, Republicans are significantly worse, I think, and overt with it. And I think so now we're starting to recognize that looking towards the system as being the thing that's going to solve us is probably not going to be the case. So then it's going to be on us to start trying to educate ourselves and try to do things outside of the system or whatever it needs to be done in order to try to achieve progress. You were asking the question of why originally, and I feel like I gave you an adequate reason of why. Systemic oppression has been rampant in this country from 1968 until present day. And so when you want to say why these things are happening, that's why. Now, Obviously, the solution is going to have to come at the individual level. I would say, obviously, avoid having children out of wedlock, stay away from drugs, stay away from gangs. Obviously, educate yourself as much as possible and make sure education is paramount in your family. And I think those are the ways to achieve economic mobility. Those are the things that I would suggest for everyone. And I also think that reparations is probably due in this country and would probably offset a lot of the damage that's been done. And that's what we've done for other people.
Okay, well, I definitely disagree with that. And the study, and Stephen, I've been sending you studies.
Yeah, I saw the first one.
No, the last one that I just sent you.
No, I saw the first one you sent me, but yeah, go ahead. Or keep
Sorry?
going. I saw the first one that you sent me. I haven't been reading the other ones, but yeah, go ahead.
Did you read the Moynihan report?
What? No, I haven't read that one. I mean, I'm getting them, but I can't like read them in the middle of your conversation and then like interject. Like, I mean,
okay, but can you do me just a tiny favor? Can you go to like, it's literally it would be the last slide, and it's like the root cause. So you don't go through the whole report, just go to the root cause.
Yeah, can you tell me which link is it?
It should say. I sent it to you in the Discord, like in the.
No. I see all the links to him. I'm just asking which link is it? Which one? Is it the talkpoverty.org one? Is it the Pew Research one? Is it the Brookings.edu one? Is it which one?
It should say. 1 second. I don't know. Okay. I sent you.
Oh, I see the Stanford one. Hold on, you just sent me this one. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that. Do you want like an annotated one?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna read this whole fucking thing.
No,
Yeah.
Don't do it. I said to go all the way to the bottom and then go to the root cause.
Well, okay, hold on. This is from 1965. What am I supposed to take from this?
You're supposed to take that the problems that they were having in 1965, we're still having now. So the summation of the study is that the biggest issue was absenteeism. So it wasn't like, oh, single moms are the problem. No, it's absenteeism. And this is the problem that I have, but especially when Black men like to talk about Black women, they drive hard to the hoop with this argument. Like, why? First of all, if you're going to look at the Black community, and you're going to look at the issues in the Black community, what you need to be honest about is the deficits in the Black community are largely the result of absenteeism. When you're looking at the household and you're looking at children in a household without a father, you're psychologically speaking, there are psychological studies, sociology. Absenteeism is directly correlated to juvenile delinquency. It's directly correlated to addiction, poor academic attainment. It's like, I don't understand how people are pointing to single mothers when the social, emotional, psychological, and economic deficits are the result of absentee fathers. And it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't think Fanatiq, I don't think anybody's trying to blame single moms. I think he's just saying that the blame is not just that to say that just Black fathers are failing or just Black men are failing misses the reasons of why they might be failing. I think is what his argument is.
Right, but why they might be failing? Again, if we're gonna go all the way back to the big bad whitey and the system and all this and that, like. At what point are Black men just going to say, no, we actually have to change our culture and, family does matter. And then this is, okay, let me get it together. Marriage, nuclear families, these are the fabrics of any good community, progressive community and society. If you take that away, you're going to have a degenerate community. What are Black men doing to remedy this? So Black men know that this is a problem, but collectively, what are they doing to either mentor young Black boys? What are they? They're not doing anything at the collective level. They're not doing anything politically. This is what I'm saying.
True.
Hold on. That's not true. First off, there's plenty of collective activity that's being done in the form of specific mentor programs, youth programs in the inner city. Those things are happening. It's just that, again, sometimes those programs aren't enough to offset the economic deprivation, because again, as you're already admitting, and it's so crazy to me, it's like you keep doing this thing where you go, yes, economics is incredibly important, and economics seems like it's a pretty big cause of a lot of these problems, and then at the same time then ignoring the economics and going, why aren't Black people doing it themselves? Why aren't they fixing this problem themselves? You can't have it both ways.
So I can acknowledge.
Hold on real quick. Hold on, Anna. Can I cut you off? Can I toss another itty bitty grenade in here, and then Fanatiq, and then Anna can answer? I'm just kind of curious because Anna's been talking about this a lot. So I agree with you that all of those systemic problems, all of those issues exist 100%. Right? Obviously, you know me. I'm your favorite progressive who plays the piano sometimes in your mouth. But I agree that those problems exist. Why is it? It would seem to me that being a woman and Black makes you like doubly or quadruply fucked in the United States. Why does it seem like women have made more progress, Black women have made more progress addressing Black issues in the Black community than Black men have? I think that's a question. Yeah, go. And you might disagree with the framing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one, I don't think that that's true. Still, the vast majority of Black men out-earn Black women in the vast majority of households. Still, like, but I will say that there are specific things that are like our system is obviously designed and specifically more punishing towards men. Right, like that's just the way that it has always been. So if you look at something like when it like we can look at the disparity between sentencing for white and Black people, and you'll see a great disparity.
But that's white and Black
like
people.
Literally,
That's
I don't. No. Let me finish. Like, trust me. No. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Yes, you can see.
What are you doing?
Wait, let me finish my point.
Whoa.
You can finish. Let me finish my point. You can look at the comparison, right, people, and like, yeah, that's really, really great. But then if you look at the comparison between men and women, it's insane. So like, while yes, Black women are still treated worse than white women, Black men are still like, it's the comparison between men and women is dramatic. Even when it comes to like the prison to pipeline.
Yeah, none of this matters. None of this matters, right?
Thank you. Like, what do you mean?
Black women aren't out there on the streets like in gangs, and they're like happening to like just float by like all these sentences.
They got their boyfriends to do it for them, so they can get the benefits.
Well, no. That's not the problem. It's that if you look at it, for example, when it comes to like welfare, like the system has always like been significantly more empathetic and sympathetic towards women. So if you look at like,
but that's because they're the ones raising other children.
Well, if you look at like for example, if you look at like the jobs program, if you look at welfare programs and all of those things, that they're significantly more geared towards helping women. Hell, if you even look at like what started the if you even look at the culture that like started single family households within Black people, that can be directly tied towards a lot of the welfare systems. Which was there were a lot. I know, I got you. I don't care if you think it's a lie. Let me finish it and then respond like I've done you. And don't get mad every time you say don't try to tell me that I'm talking. Don't try to tell me that I'm talking to you like a child when you act like a child and petulantly interrupt me repeatedly. I got you. Maybe you can say that. Stop interrupting and I'll finish a point and it won't take that long. And I got you. I bet you believe that. Anyways.
At least as a Black man who's on your side, I got you. Just wait your turn and then we can get him.
You're not on my side. First of all.
All right. Hold on. Okay, but let me finish my point. So look, if you look. Thank you. So if you look at like the welfare programs that were aimed specifically at making, like they specifically said that you could not get those welfare programs if you had a man in the home because it was only aimed at women. During that, obviously, you want to talk about where culture is developed. During that time, when you're raised in a single family household, you're more likely to normalize to that because single parent households used to be incredibly stigmatized across all of society. But once you have an entire generation of people who have been politically disaffected and disenfranchised, and then you give them something that says, hey, we'll give you assistance so that you can still survive and feed your children, but you got to make sure your man isn't in the home. So then those children are all raised in a single parent household without regular access to their father. That means that those little girls are going to see it more likely socially, right? That they're going to develop the attitudes that it's okay to raise your children singly because that's what's comfortable and known to them. Same for those Black black boys. They can see, my father wasn't there, and it's not such a bad deal if I'm not going to be there. You learn the culture from your upbringing and your environment. Environment shapes culture more so than any other thing. And so when that environment is caused by a design in a system, then you're more likely to see it perpetuate itself. And that's exactly what has led to this culture. So now I get that it's incumbent on the individual to make the decision, hey, it's still not a good idea. Again, I don't have any children out of wedlock. I want children. I'm getting up there in age. That's why I'm engaged now. But the idea is that I get that I was raised where I had my mother instilled what I would say are pretty conservative values regarding that, which is why I was always so determined to do that. So I think it is cultural.
Okay, Fanatic. So let her go. Let her go. Go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead, girlfriend.
First and foremost, you said that Black women have always institutionally or governments have always been more lenient with Black women.
Not always. No, I didn't say always.
Right, but you failed to provide absolutely. Name one program that was only applicable to Black women. One program.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Maybe I wouldn't be able to say that any program is exclusively accessed by Black women, but when you can see a program where it's like 90% of it is accessible by Black women. Hold on, let me answer the question. When you can, you ask me a question, and you're not letting me fully answer.
Let me 15 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you. When you can point to a program that is like hyper disproportionate, where it's like 90% or 95% are women and only 5% are men, then that's a thing. And I'm pretty sure the welfare program in the 60s was exclusive to Black women.
Okay, all right. Now you can rebut.
You're pretty sure about that, and unfortunately, you're wrong. So what you're talking about is the man out of the house rule. That's what we're talking about, right? Okay, so here's the thing about that. When you're saying you're basically positing that Black women preferred government cheese to men who were providing in the household, and I'm here to tell you that that's not what it was. Cause and effect. The government saw that Black men, no men were there. First of all, second of all, obviously Black women were at the mercy of their communities and their men. So what do you think the government is going to do? Obviously, these women are at the mercy of these men and their communities. Obviously, they're going to need to have. They're going to need to be some way. So yes, Black women were on welfare, but the man out of the house rule. First of all, do you know what year that law was overturned? Does anybody know?
No. Please tell us.
It was instituted in the 1960s. And
wait, again, I want to know when it was overturned. When was it overturned?
I don't know the exact year. What was that year?
Do you know, ma'am?
Abba, Abba, why are you like this?
No, hold on. You just asked the question. I want to actually know that.
No, Abba, why are you like this?
I'm so confused. What's happening?
Why are you like this?
Hey, listen, I just came back and I heard you were mad at me. What did I do?
Well, are we derailing the combo into your personal beef, Abba? Is that what you're doing right now?
No, but she's super hostile towards me. I'm here to support.
Well, you sound sarcastic as fuck. I can't tell if you're. I can't even tell if you're.
He's absolutely sarcastic. Look, I'm gonna just say this really quick. Look. Okay, I'm a big fan, Abba. I appreciate you. I appreciate your content, but it seems like this might be the time for me to exit. But
I'll get to Abba later. Okay, so I believe it was overturned in 1968. So just so we're clear.
Wait, Annalicia, he says he wants to leave. I think he says he's done with you. You gotta let him affirm his batteries. Are you done, Fanatiq?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm done. I just want to she can finish her point. I'll just let me give my point. Then you can get the last word. Okay?
No. Actually, let her finish her point, and then you can finish yours, and then we're done. Go ahead, Annalise, because I interrupted you. Finish your point.
I can't hear. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I was just saying that Fanatiq needs to leave, so he wanted to be able. So he said, finish your point, and he's gonna give you one last point.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
I can always hear you. Always.
Okay, but can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm always listening.
Hello?
Oh,
I don't think she can hear us.
Can you briefly tell me why she's so mad at me?
What? I don't ever think if I answer, she'll get mad at me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I feel like Destiny is a Black woman's name, so I think you should be able to.
That's why I'm safe. I'm just kidding.
I think
okay,
okay, go ahead. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
The man out of the home rule was. Who said that?
Abba. Okay, Fanatiq says he needs to leave, so he said finish your point, and then he's going to give you one last point. And we're going to finish.
Okay, so my point to what he was talking about welfare. women did not choose welfare over, like the idea that Black men really run with this narrative. Like, how remedial is it that women chose welfare to live in abject poverty versus having a man in the home who was providing and protecting them? Like, are you serious? What makes more sense, that they weren't providing anything, or that they were, and the Black women simply prefer to get less and to live in poverty? Like, what makes more sense to you? You guys really think that Black women, and here's the thing, if Black women really wanted to rely on welfare for the rest of their lives, because it was a Black woman who got that legislation overturned in 1968. So the man out of the home rule, it wasn't Black men who said, hey, we want to be in the home, we want to be in our children's lives, we want to take care of our families. It was Black women who advocated on behalf of having that overturned.
Okay, so Fanatiq, go ahead, go with your closing point.
All right, thank you. So listen, you keep moving this goalpost, because when I'm talking to you about what is, and then you start making these points about preference, obviously, you would want to, instead of being dependent on the system, you would want a person who's at home that would be able to provide for you and raise your children, and you guys would be a connected family unit. But again, you got to think that these laws were existing and were largely implemented during the time when there was a march on Washington again. Well, let me finish. Nigga, relax. Hold on. I'm gonna have to mute you. Lord have mercy. Let me finish a dang point.
You gotta let
at the same time, when this thing was happening, it's when there was a march on Washington again for jobs and freedom. So the providing that you're talking about would normally come by way of jobs. So then that's what Black men needed. But when you recognize that there's a march on Washington that's happening where Black men are asking for systemic, for them to eliminate racial discrimination in hiring practices, and affirmative action is a needed program to offset this racism that's not allowing them to work, then yes, a lot of times this was a family decision made by both parties, where the man opted, rather than be stuck in a situation where I cannot provide, I'm not able to find any employment, so then I can't actually raise my children in a situation, and my children will starve. Yes, I would rather step out of the home and allow my wife to get the government funds necessary in order to go ahead and get that. And it's also asinine to me. It's wild as hell that you would say it was a sole Black woman that overturned this law about in 1968 about the men out of the house laws, when you got to recognize that's directly on the heels of the Million Man March, the long hot summer of the Million Man March. Not the Million Man March, the March on Washington, the long hot summer of 1967, and all of the widespread countrywide protests that were happening at that time. But it had nothing to do with them. It was a lone Black woman. You have a very selective way of just completely ignoring all of history, ignoring all of data, ignoring all the facts, and just trying your best to implicate Black men while ignoring all data, facts, and figures. It's absolutely absurd. You walk back points. First you say it's had nothing to do with poverty, it's all culture. Then you go back and say, yes, it's poverty. Then you say, oh, it could be a matter of both. It's crazy to me. I don't think you have a cogent thought in your body, but thank you for at least trying to be decent half of this time. I love y'all. I gotta go. I'm out.
All right, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Listen, this is my thing.
Hold up. The reason that I brought up. Can I just say one thing?
No, hold on. The reason I brought up the woman out of the home, the man out of the, and I don't know why he's acting like Black men were like always there. Part of the reason that Black women were dependent on welfare is because Black men were deserting them. It wasn't that it wasn't just like, oh, Black men couldn't find jobs. They were deserting them. Maybe they were deserting them because they couldn't find jobs. What I'm saying, cause and effect. The idea that Black men run with the narrative that, oh, Black women chose welfare over. No, Black women chose living and being able to provide for their family because men could not.
And the men abandoned the families, right?
Go f yourself.
Jesus. Hold up.